hear my voice first.
There's no one viewing this.
I know. I'm trying my best.
You waited too long. This should have been on like 15 minutes ago.
You should have been on 15 minutes ago.
I don't know what to say to that.
Good. I've left you speechless.
Ooh.
Our first viewer.
Ooh.
Patience. You must
Our
learn patience.
first
Hello there.
responder.
Hello. Everyone.
Well, there's no comments yet, so they haven't responded yet.
You're right.
They're just the first appearance, you know?
501st podcast is now live on Twitch.
Sorry, I was trying to relate it to what we were talking
No. I respect that.
All right.
I respect that, yeah.
We are live. We are good to go. Let's pull this up. I really should have had this done beforehand. There's no excuse for my ineptitude.
So wait, have you, aside from like that lady, like have you done it more than once?
There was this one kid. I was at. I think it's Lion's Head. Is that what it is? Lion's Head? No, not Lion's Head.
Lion something.
Is that a city pool?
Yeah, it's a city pool. It's outdoors, so it was in the summer.
Lionsgate?
Lions.
I don't know.
Isn't that a movie production?
It
Yeah,
is.
it is. That's what I'm thinking of.
And Lion's Head is a place in.
Lion's Head
Lions
sounds like a
BC,
cool
I don't
castle,
know.
you know? Like,
Lion's Head is a place.
Lions
near
BC
Saddle
is, I'm
Beach.
pretty sure it's a soccer team.
what is?
Lions BC.
It is?
Isn't Lions
sure.
Head a place in Owen Sound? Or do you guys know?
I don't know. Anyways,
Okay, sorry, you go.
No, wait, no, let him finish.
let him finish, and then we'll jump into
Because
this.
he asked.
Yeah.
There was a kid who so he was running on deck,
Ooh.
which is at first is a
That's
big
the
no.
cardinal sin.
It's a big no. And I guess I finally realized why that is firsthand, because he ran full force into the slide. And
like ran into it?
well, okay, so this was I don't
Like,
know
did he
how
slip, or?
I don't know how he managed to pull this off. So where where like I guess the creases are. So like you have the slide, right, and then behind it kind of curves and it has those ends. I guess.
Yep.
I'm trying to relate.
Wait,
this
hold on. Is it like a straight slide or like a curvy slide?
Oh, it's a curve. It's the slide we have at South Common.
Okay.
At an unnamed pool at an unnamed city.
It's the slide we have at
SC, yeah.
SC, yeah. So it was. So he hit his.
Some person's gonna show up at that pool that we just mentioned and be like, "Hello there,
Yeah. Well,
come for the podcast."
good. So he hit his between his big toe and his I'm gonna call it my index toe. The index toe. And he split it open.
Ooh.
And I guess I can't remember if I was the only guard out there.
But he wasn't drowning though, right?
No, he.
Oh, okay.
I guess this wasn't
He
really.
was on land.
That's
You
another.
could leave him for like 10 minutes and he'd be fine.
He was bleeding profusely.
That's fine. Come on.
He should have done the Peter Griffin thing.
The foot is like the farthest away from the heart. He'll be fine.
You can lose a toe and still be fine.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
What is this called? Like,
What you can't do is lose both arms and both legs and burn alive.
Wow. He was trying to.
to be fair, Anakin didn't lose his legs. He just lost below the knee. So, or above the knee.
Did he take a lightsaber to the knee?
Who?
Did he used to be an adventurer?
Yeah, I guess.
But yeah. Anyways, that was freaking.
Did he survive?
Yes, he survived.
Did he develop
crying.
like a?
Did you just ask if someone hurt their toe and you asked, was there a fatality?
I don't know. He could have gotten some sort of
Yeah,
infection or something. You know?
I tripped on the pool of blood he made. Now I have a concussion.
Maybe it was rusty and he got like tetanus or something. Who knows?
That I do not. Well,
We would have been sued.
It's plastic. I actually thought I was going to be in trouble because I got like messages like a little while after, like, can you confirm what happened? And I'm like, oh no, what did I do?
I cut the wire and defused the bomb. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we are back at it again with another episode of the 501st podcast. Joined once again by our two lovely guests, Luca, Rob.
Just go that.
Hello.
Morning.
It's like 10 p.m. here. I don't know why you say it morning.
I'm just assuming this person is from somewhere
Ignore him.
in Europe.
In Japan.
I'm hoping that. Hold on. Where's my phone? I'm gonna check what time it is.
Pretty
in
sure it's
Europe.
on the desk over there.
That's too
Don't get
far
up.
away.
In Europe, it's 6 hours, so it'd be, what, 4 in the morning? 5? 4 or 5, depending on where in Europe
This
you are.
person's a trooper.
Yeah.
Anyways, they're not on yet. They will be. He said he set 3 alarms, so he better be here.
Yeah, I think it's about 4 or 5. I could be wrong.
Anyways, we're back again with another episode review of the Book of Boba Fett, Episode 6.
Are you sure?
Or as
it's
I
called
like
Book
to
of
call it,
Boba
or as we're calling it right now,
Fett? Where is Boba Fett?
Episode 6 Fan Service. As always, spoilers are in effect, so if you don't like spoilers, piss off.
It's like a Where's Waldo with Boba Fett.
You seek you seek Boba.
Boba, you seek Boba!
Powerful bounty
He
hunter is he?
is.
Powerful bounty hunter.
Is he?
Is
At this
Is he
point, he's not a
really?
bounty hunter
Is he
anymore?
really?
Powerful
Powerful
Daimeo, he
Daimeo.
is. I keep wanting to call it Daimeo. I know it's Daimeo, but
Daimeo.
Daimeo.
Yeah, that's when you want to... It's either German for
He's
the
just sitting
mayonnaise.
there and he's just like scooping up mayonnaise as he goes.
He might as well be. He's doing nothing else.
This has nothing to do with the podcast itself,
Here we
but
go.
there's one episode of The Simpsons that I love.
6 minutes in and we're already off track.
I haven't even got.
Go ahead, Luca, go ahead.
No, just let me do this. So do you
Please
guys know?
go.
Do you guys know Sideshow Bob from The Simpsons?
Yes.
And you know how he hates Bart, right? With like a passion, right? So there's one episode of The Simpsons where they put Sideshow Bart on trial, and then they want to go the insanity defense. And the judge says something about, like, take off your shirt or whatever, and he takes off his shirt, and it says, die, Bart, die, on it, right?
I remember this. I
Yeah,
remember.
and then the judge is
Yes.
like, why does it say die, Bart, die on your shirt? And he's like, oh, no, it's German for the Bart, the. Or something like that, yeah.
D-A-I.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember
You know-
that. Or...
I actually do. But when I was a kid, I always thought they were saying like psycho, like wrong. Like they were saying sideshow.
Sideshow Bob?
Like Sideshow Bob.
Oh, okay.
I never actually heard Sideshow Bob. I was like, why are you saying psycho wrong? Because he's psychotic. I don't know. I crossed wires.
Anyways,
Wrong
getting back
things.
on track. So, let's start off what we always do.
Give a Twitch sub if you recognize the episode.
Give us
or the
$20.
the reference.
We're robbing you. This is a robbery.
This is a shakedown. Anyways, Luca,
Yeah.
why don't you take it away to summary of the episode?
He's
Given,
eating-
hold on,
He's eating
hold
popcorn.
on. Given that both his favorite character and his least favorite character,
Actually, Obi-Wan's
are
my favorite character. So.
second favorite character,
Actually,
and his least.
actually, Obi-Wan's objectively the best character.
He's literally Space Jesus.
No, that's Anakin.
No.
No.
Anyways, Luca, do you want to take away the summary?
Sure. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, fine. Feel
Luca?
free to interrupt me if I forget anything.
It's fine. I'm sure.
How does it... Oh, yeah. So it starts with these dudes, and they're in Tatooine.
Wow.
I'm getting there.
These dudes
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
so-
in Tatooine.
Oh, my God. Oh, do you want to do it? I'm sorry. Do you want to do it then?
No, it's fine. It's fine. Just go. Just
Look,
go.
if you're
It's
going to
fine.
tell me to do it, you have to be okay with the lack of quality therein.
No, I don't think I have to be.
Yeah, it's like, you know when you're playing GTA and you're getting ready for a heist, and then if you pay the more expensive heist member, you do a better job, but you lose more money?
Then what's the point of paying the expensive heist?
Well, because there's
All
a
I
cheaper
wanted
heist
was a
member,
Book of
but
Boba
they
Fett
might not do the
podcast.
heist well.
All I wanted, and instead I get derailed the train.
Well, actually, that has to do with Book of Boba Fett.
I
If
don't
you
want to
really...
hear what I'm done. Okay,
All right, I'll do it. Okay.
Luca,
So
go
so
for
it starts with the Pikes. They're on Tatooine. They're doing some spice deal or whatever, and then Cobb Vanth, who's the sheriff of Mos Pelgos, which is now
Freetown.
which is now Freetown,
It
but
is
we
not
don't know it's called Freetown yet. He shows up, and then he's like, "Yo, guys, get out of here," and I'll look the other way. And they don't get out of there, so he shoots 3 of them, and then he lets the other guy off with a warning. He's like, what was that thing? Never mind.
Yo, guy, get out of the way.
No, but that's sort of like that
I can bring
cliche.
you in cold, or I can. Oh,
No, but there's
You already...
I already ruined it. I'm sorry.
there's a cliche of like, go and tell your masters what I've done, or like give them a
Oh,
message,
yeah,
or,
yeah.
like leaving one
You
person
tell
alive.
them that I'm coming, and
Yeah,
hell's
yeah.
coming with me.
Yeah.
If any more spice goes through this area,
You're a dead man.
none of you will come back instead.
Oh,
Yeah.
Or
if you get lost
if you
again.
get lost, you'll stay lost. Kind
Yeah.
Of thing.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so that happens, and then there's the wipe to the title sequence.
Yeah.
And then we go to the planet which
Mandalorians.
isn't
Yeah.
named. And we see Luke. No. Yeah, we see Luke and Baby Yoda, right?
Yeah, Grogu.
And they're training, and then Mando lands.
And there's a really cute thing where, as they're meditating, Grogu's like, "I'm gonna just sneak a frog real quick," and Luke's like, "That's a bad Grogu." And then he does it himself.
Luke's like, I'm gonna steal a bunch of frogs. I show you how it's done.
Exactly. Yes, and then
So Mando lands on the planet with his Naboo starfighter, and then
Why does everyone always want to go back to Naboo? I'm sorry.
it's a beautiful planet.
It is a beautiful planet.
I mean, it's not even as overused as Tatooine is.
Fair.
True. That's very true.
Anyways, getting back on topic.
Sorry. Yeah. So he meets R2D2, right? He meets R2D2, and R2D2 takes him to this place where these like caterpillar droids are building the house.
They're more like
spider
ants.
droids.
They're ants. Spiders.
You're right.
They're
Ants is a better
Like everything about them is ant-like.
Maybe not, but also maybe.
Excuse me.
Okay.
They have 6 legs. They have
an
three
abdomen.
things. They have an abdomen, and
Do they have a thorax?
yes, and
With such definitive yes they do.
and they move in a hive mind fashion.
And they carry things heavier than themselves.
Exactly. Anyways,
Up
continue.
to 10 times their weight.
That's subjective.
I don't think weight is subjective, Austin.
No. Remember that time? Remember Ahsoka's exposition about these ant-like robots?
No.
You
No, I don't.
You don't remember?
I don't
that
remember
10
either. What did
that
she
10-minute
say?
scene.
No, I don't.
Good, because there wasn't any. This was a test. and
I was
you
worried that you
Oh.
were hallucinating there for a moment.
you both passed.
Okay, anyways, so the ant robots are building something, and it turns out it's going to be the new Jedi Temple, or Jedi Academy, or whatever it is, which kind of made me sad, because they should have just used the one from Yavin 4, like they did in the EU, but I guess they're not going to do that.
Yeah, but like then they can't build it.
Oh no, we lose 3 minutes of screen time in which robot ants build a stone hut. You know,
Yeah, it's
if you
terrible.
want to see that, go watch like early Neolithic humans. Like, right? Like,
Wait, dude, is there a show on that? Maybe I'll give
Bro.
it a
Probably like National Geographic. I don't know.
yeah, I don't know.
This podcast episode is sponsored by National Geographic. Big shout out, which is actually owned by Disney.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it is on there, right?
I hate everything.
Oh, hush.
Yeah, so I think he meets Ahsoka then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
Yeah,
shows
Ahsoka
up,
pops up.
and she's like,
Yeah.
"Yo, I know you want to see Baby Yoda, but like it might not be the best for him because he just got over, like,
The breakup.
over the
don't-
breakup.
Now, gosh, why'd you say that? Anyways, now don't go into your problems with the specifics of why that is. Just finish the.
We'll
recap.
wait
won't.
till
I
the
won't-
end
I
of the
won't.
episode summary. We'll get to that.
I will
Yes.
hold my tongue until it's
Please
necessary."
do. You gotta get through this.
So she says it's not a good idea for him to see him. So instead, she suggests that he just give her that wrapped the gift that's wrapped from the previous episode. So she does, and do we go back to Tatooine then? I don't remember. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
we
this
did
Yeah.
back to Tatooine.
Yeah, so then Mandalorian goes back to Tatooine, and we get like 2 seconds of Boba Fett and his.
His back.
Hey, it's still Book of Boba Fett.
It's a strong back.
Dave
Yeah.
Filoni's like, guys,
Guys,
we're
remember?
still on Book of Boba Fett.
And then they're like, we have enough people to patrol the city, but we don't have enough people to defend the city.
Meanwhile, there's like 5 guys. In there.
Yeah.
Cue
Like
the
actual
Avengers.
guns.
No, I'm kidding.
So they have to get more
Damn.
manpower. So Mando flies over to Mos Pelgos,
Yep.
No.
which I guess we'll now call Freetown, right?
Freedom Town.
Freedom Town.
No, it was just Freetown.
I'm calling it Freedom Town.
Second Amendment. Sorry. Parliament, Constitutional Republic Town.
Exactly. Anyways,
That's kind of long, but okay.
I like it.
Yeah, so he
Rolls
shows
off
up there, and then he meets with Cobb Vanth, and he's like, "Yo, do you wanna like help me?"
He
Or
said he said those
something like
exact
that.
words, but he was like, "Yo, you want to help?"
Even chat's like Freetown, America be like, what?
Yeah. Okay. Well, to be fair, he said like, if you guys don't if you guys don't save us now, then it's gonna be you next on the chopping block.
Yeah, pretty
that
much.
whole thing. And he's like, okay, we'll see. We'll get like a referendum
I
going
will
on.
speak to the people.
Yeah. And then Mando leaves,
Yep.
and then Cad Bane from the Clone Wars. And
Big cameo. Cad Bane
And Bad
is
Batch
in
shows up.
league with the Pikes.
I'm surprised he's
course.
still alive because he must be like super old by then.
And also, like
60 or
super
70.
cool. Like, did you see that beatdown he took in Bad Batch? Like, damn.
Yuki!
How does he not have like arthritis in
Can
all
I
of his
say something?
extremities?
Can I say something? I think Cad Bane is a little overused.
I'm
just gonna say that I'm not the biggest fan of him. Like he's cool, but
I agree with you, but I still really like him.
I respect that.
I agree
You
he's
can- you can put
overused,
aside
but I
your-
think more Cad Bane is necessary.
Yes, that is exactly.
Let's remember, Cad Bane fought Obi-Wan 1v1
That's bullshit.
and
That
made
is-
it out alive.
That is non-canon. Okay, that is complete.
Those
like
Clone Wars, that is exactly
Well, he
canon.
lost though, right? Like he still like he fought him one by one.
he fought Obi-Wan and what's his name, Quinlan Vos,
Yes.
if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Well, hold on. If Jango Fett, a non-Force user, can defeat Jedi, then it's only fair to assume that other bounty hunters can somewhat go toe to toe with other Jedi.
I mean, I guess,
I would say it's canon.
but not Obi-Wan. He's the best Jedi.
He is the best Jedi.
I'll agree with you there.
Yeah,
I'll
he
is
agree
the
with you
best
there.
No, but I mean, like,
but
in
he is
every way.
Still, I think non-Force users can still go toe to toe with him, not win, but still go toe to toe with him.
Anyways, getting back to the episode, you were saying, Luca. So Cad Bane arrives in Freedom Town.
And they do a Mexican standoff.
Yep.
Have you guys ever seen the movie The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly?
I want
Yes,
to
I have.
really badly.
You should watch it. It is very good.
It
Tried
is very
to.
good.
And
My girlfriend was like, meh.
it,
Yeah,
it's good. What you should watch the entire.
I want to watch a few dollars more, fistful of dollars, a few dollars more, and then I want to
Yeah,
watch
yeah.
The Bad, the Ugly.
But you don't have to because none of the movies have any.
I know,
like,
but
You should.
for Clint,
That's the way I did. Anyways, so in the end of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, this may be a little bit of a spoiler, but they have a Mexican standoff between three guys.
I watched that.
Yeah. Well, watch the movie. You can't just.
I watched that.
That scene is the pinnacle of the entire film right there.
Chad has a question. What did you guys think of Cad Bane's first live-action appearance and how he looked?
I had some problems with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when he didn't have when his hat was like down and covering most of his face, I was like, this is going to be really cool.
Right.
But I did have a problem with the eyes.
Yeah, I think the eyes were the giveaway.
When he first tilted up and like his like he creased into like that angry like like kind of like his eyebrows his lack of eyebrows went like down and it crinkled like I was like that's really cool that they were able to do that because that's obviously not CGI.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a problem with the eyes. It looked weird.
I'll say this, like, for me, like, it was I thought they did alright. This is gonna sound weird, and I know technically, like, he was animated first. I wish they could have made his head, like, more wide at the top.
Like
See,
how it is in the movie.
Because look, his eyes in the show are like just red, like flat red.
Mm-hmm.
Or am I tripping?
No.
Yeah, it's like a flat. Like if you go in Paint and you click the Paint bucket icon and you put it on his eyes, it's red, right?
That's the other problem I had. His hat was too small.
yeah.
See, for me, he
That's not
wasn't
okay.
blue enough. He needs to be a darker shade of blue.
See, this is Ahsoka all over again. It's like your tendrils are too small. It's.
I don't care
weird.
about the blue. I just think the eyes look too much like the classical like gray aliens that you
Right.
see from like UFOs.
Destroyer.
Where the eyes
Yeah,
make
yeah,
up 70% of the
Yeah,
face.
exactly. Yeah.
But I wanted them.
You know, so I don't know. I think he looked okay. He did look really creepy though.
Oh
which
my
is,
gosh.
Which is kind of
They
cool.
nailed
He
the
looked-
voice.
Yeah.
They nailed the voice.
He looked utterly terrifying.
Yeah, they
Like
did. They
I
did
will
a
be
really
having,
good-
I will be having nightmares tonight.
But I think that's really
I
interesting.
feel like you were going into that Deadpool line where he's like, "I'm touching myself."
yeah.
No.
I think it's interesting how, like, maybe someone that doesn't look as scary in a cartoon looks a lot more
Like,
terrifying
horrific.
in real life. That's something interesting that I didn't really think about until now. But yeah, I mean, I think he looked okay. He definitely looked.
He looked good. He looked good.
Yeah,
For a live action adaptation, I give it a pass for sure.
yeah. I get
Oh
a
shit!
pass,
I
but
didn't
not
know that. They
perfect.
nailed the voice because the same voice actor came back to play the role.
I believe it.
Probably, yeah.
It's like what they're doing with
I'm
Luke.
down.
It's like what they're
But the
doing
question is he a better live action adaptation than Ahsoka? That's the real question.
with... Yes.
You think so?
I don't think we've seen enough to make a
No,
judgment call
I know,
yet.
I know. I'm just messing with you.
Anyways, so Cad Bane shows up, and he's like, "Yo, stay the out of the spice trade. Come near the Pikes, ruin the organization, and I will come back and end every single one of you."
Wait, I thought he was doing the recap.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Luca.
He's taking the reins now.
No, go
No,
ahead.
it's
Yeah,
fine,
please.
Luca.
You
It's
have
fine.
my blessing.
You
Thanks, appreciate it. And so we get this really cool. I'm bleeding from my mouth. I'm not
can you
quite sure why.
stop eating these Swedish berries so fast?
I didn't. It was in the. Anyways, so we get a cool little Mexican. We get a Mexican.
We get a cool little...
It is a Mexican.
It is Mexican standoff. Okay, good. I want to make sure I had that right.
I'm just so glad that you stopped at where you stopped. I
was like, hold on.
It sounded so funny.
No, wait, can I just finish my thing? That scene where they do the Mexican standoff has to be a reference to the ending of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Because in that film, they also have a Mexican standoff. But also in
one was in a graveyard, and the other one...
okay, location aside, the dynamics of it
Maybe
are
fair,
very
Tax Bean's
similar.
pretty much a graveyard.
Yeah, because in that movie, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, you have two sort of combatants or
Right.
two participants who are very much sort of like the grizzled, steely-eyed cowboys, right?
Oh, and then you got the...
Yeah, and then you've got in the movie, his
newbie.
name is Tuco, right? He's the ugly, he's the fool of the movie, right? And he's very skittish and sort of like looking back and forth between the two participants, right?
Well, think about it. Cad Bane is... I think he's kind of a reference to Clint Eastwood. Like, he has a very, like, Clint Eastwood vibe to him.
Yeah, I think that's definitely what they're going for. So I liked seeing that homage being paid there to
Right.
that, right? And similarly in... that's where the similarities end, I guess, because it goes a little bit different in the movie. But yeah, sorry, Austin, go ahead.
No, it's all good. Anyways, they go into a little Mexican standoff, and Cad Bane wrecks the deputy sheriff,
And
and then wrecks the sheriff, although it looks like the sheriff's going to live, because plot armor is stronger than a blaster.
Plot armor is strong with that one.
And he basically just kind of walks away into the sunset kind of thing, without it actually being a sunset. Dust
Double
swirling
sunset.
behind him.
It was so
Double
cool.
sunset. Yeah, really nice intro to Cad Bane. Really nice, holy shit, they actually pulled that off moment. Then I'm pretty sure we transition back to Luke and Grogu, who they're still training and whatever. And Ahsoka and Luke have this, I won't go too much into it right now, but I will be going into this later. Have this really nice moment where Luke's like, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I'm good enough. And Ahsoka's like, don't worry, my dude. You're fine. You're just like your old pops.
And you say I exaggerate the dialogue.
Yeah, that's not what he said.
That's exactly what he said.
No, he said, I don't know if his heart is in the right place. And
Whatever,
then,
same
and then
thing.
she said, you sound like your father.
There you go.
Wait, we missed a big portion of the episode, the Grogu flashback on
Oh,
yeah, the fire.
We got Order 66! We gotta kill some more Jedi!
That was awesome.
Finally, something we have. It's Star Wars fans are such a. We are truly a fickle bunch. This is too much like the original. It gets like 8 different versions of Order 66. Give me more! Give me more!
But that was like,
Great.
and it's not really that's not really a good comparison to like the sequel, Force Awakens, and like
No, I know.
it's just a rendition of, well, it's not even a rendition. It's just a different place in the same time that this event.
Yeah, but it makes sense the way they use it now because he
Yeah.
was at the Jedi Temple. So in
Yeah.
this case, it makes sense
Just as it makes sense in the Bad Batch how they used it, and just how, all that kind of stuff.
Just saying.
yeah.
Chat says, is it just me, or do you think that Cobb Vanth could have taken Bane if the deputy wasn't there? No. I
no.
think Bane takes him 1v1.
I think Bane has more experience.
I think Bane's overrated. I think he
Get out.
probably could have taken. I'm just saying.
Sorry, guys. Podcast is over.
No,
We're
but
leaving.
like, no,
I don't think he could have. I don't think Cad Bane could.
but is age not a factor? Because like he must be like super duper old by now.
Grizzled, yes, but he's still been in the game. Well,
Sure, but
let's
it
say-
tones down your reflexes,
can you say the
right?
Same, can you say the same for Boba?
Sure.
guess actually,
Boba
no,
gets
no,
his
Right,
ass
that's
handed to him
regularly.
consistently.
Yeah, that's not so. Okay,
Like, he
so,
gets slapped
so
around
here's,
a lot.
So here's my take on that. That is not canon.
Well, you can use my defense there.
Star Wars,
That's plagiarism.
Star Wars fans. Anything I don't like isn't canon.
Is that not how it works?
Yeah.
Anyways, we're never gonna get through the summary. We're never gonna get through it. Bane, best hunter, who was a clone. Bane beat a hunter who was a clone who was genetically modified to have increased senses. Sure.
Yeah, that was from the wait, no, did he ever fight? Oh, he did. Remember that one episode in the Bad Batch where they have another standoff and then he shoots Hunter? Remember?
Oh,
yeah. Remember that?
That's true.
Yeah.
He did. Look at that. Chat coming in handy. Thank
Yeah,
you.
but that was
Thank you, Senate.
19. That was like 24 years before before the events of this show.
That was such a good
So that happens
standoff. Oh my
between
gosh.
Revenge of the Sith and New Hope.
Yeah,
That had the same
Sure.
amount of freaking gravitas to it as that freaking showdown too.
yeah.
That was so good.
It was good
I'm
stuff.
sorry, I love the gunslinging in Star Wars.
We should be getting more of it.
And we are.
Yeah. Anyways.
It's turning into a good old spaghetti western.
Chat, quote unquote, chat coming in handy, he says. Give me credit. No. I don't think I will.
Well, he's the Senate. He gets the credit for everything. He is the
I am the Senate.
Not yet.
Anyway. Anyways. So, Luca, do you want to keep going with the summary and then we'll go on from there?
Okay.
It goes back to place, right?
Wait,
back to
where did you
place.
stop off?
We stopped off at Ahsoka and Luke having a
Yeah,
chat.
so Ahsoka and Luke are like whatever talking, and then Ahsoka leaves. Yeah, and
Ahsoka gives the
gift to Luke.
The gift to Luke, and
oh yeah, she gives the gift to Luke, and then she leaves.
The gift is chainmail.
Wait, you can't spoil it yet. That hasn't happened yet. You gotta get there, okay?
The gift is.
I give it to Luca because he actually does pacing well.
The gift
No,
is
I
a
don't.
lightsaber.
Wait, does the
Well-
does the bombing happen before or after they reveal his chainmail? I think it happens before.
It happens before.
Yeah, because the chainmail's at the very end, right?
Yeah.
Where he's like, you
I
have the
thought-
choice.
Because that's
Well,
that's
no.
where they roll credits.
But didn't he? Wasn't it shown before that scene? It was shown.
Was it?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Luke
Don't
was
take
given
this
it.
the wrong way, but you guys talking about Star Wars to each other sounds extremely gay. Well, I guess we're having. I guess we're butt buddies then. Luca, going on.
On that note,
Thank you
yeah.
for your
Anyways,
comment.
yeah. So Ahsoka leaves. We go back to Tatooine, and the Pikes. They go to that casino or cantina or both. From the previous Book of Boba Fett episodes, with that lady Twi'lek, who's like the proprietor of the establishment or whatever, and they give
get
her,
wrecked.
yeah, they give her this like container thing, and go on.
No, I can't. It's too much.
Okay, yeah, so they give her the container thing, and then it's actually a bomb, and it blows up, so it blows up the casino,
Yep.
and then we go back to Luke and Grogu, and they're in like this hut, and then they reveal that the gift is chainmail for
Made of Beskar.
made of Beskar for Baby Yoda, and then Luke goes all like Morpheus, and he's like, "You can take the chainmail and
blue and the
return.
red pill.
You can take the chainmail and return to your daily life with the Mandalorian, or you can take Yoda's lightsaber and see how far down the rabbit hole Jedi training goes,
Yeah.
right, so to speak." So, and then it ends on that choice. So I guess Baby Yoda has to choose whether to return.
God, just take
With-
the lightsaber.
I just don't understand. It doesn't seem very characteristic to me of Luke to say, if you take the armor, you have to go back to Mandalorian. But I'll get into that later. I'll get into the
we'll
whole
get to
attachment
that.
later.
We're gonna
Yeah.
get to that. Don't worry. We still have an hour and a half left of the podcast. We're gonna have plenty to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So first things first, we're gonna do what we usually do. I want each of you to give me one thing, just one thing, because I feel like we often repeat ourselves on the podcast sometimes. One thing that you enjoyed about the episode. One thing that really stood out. Just one, because that way there's plenty of things that we can pick from.
All right, Rob, you go.
So Rob, yeah, I'm gonna give Rob the first go.
I I like the Mexican standoff. I
Mexican
thought that was
standoff.
done really well. I like Cad Bane, and as much as I agree with you that he can be overused sometimes, I do not care. I like him anyways, and that is how fickle the Star Wars fandom is.
We'll simultaneously complain about one thing and then demand we get morbid.
Exactly.
It's what we do.
It is what we do.
Luca, favorite thing about the episode?
Favorite scene in the episode? It's when Baby Yoda is balancing on the bamboo stalk, and then Luke takes out his lightsaber, and he does like the sort of.
He goes through the phases of the lightsaber.
Yeah, what's
training.
it called in I know Rob, you did martial arts. What's it
Kata?
called? Is that what it's called? Where they do the
Kata.
procession of moves,
Kata.
like one followed by the other?
Kata.
Yeah, so he does that. What's it called? Kata?
Kata.
Yeah, so he does like a sort of kata, like we saw with Mandalorian in the previous episode, with the sort of lightsaber moves. I really like that. I thought that was really cool.
That was
And it's something that I've always wanted to. I liked just most of the scenes with Luke, and like, I think they chose a really good planet to like have the Jedi Temple on. They should have done Yavin 4, but this is basically
A close
like
second.
Yeah, it's like it's jungly enough. So
Chat
it's
says,
fine.
I'm just wondering where the Luke got Yoda's lightsaber from, because the last time we see Yoda's lightsaber, it's him dropping it in the fight with Palpatine on Coruscant. He never uses it in the OT and doesn't seem to have it. Well, I would assume that after he drops it,
He
picks it up and dips. I would assume.
Well, where does he drop it though?
I would assume he just drops it on the floor.
Or does he
Well,
drop
like
it down the Senate
fell.
Rotunda room?
Yeah. And
'Cause
then
that's a
as
huge
he,
room.
and then when he hits the
no,
ground,
but I'm pretty
he
sure they were
grabs
on
it.
they were in the center at the end there, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause I'm
dueling-
pretty
so-
sure,
and
like,
then
if
he
you go
dropped
look
it.
at the end of Revenge of the Sith, like when he's talking to Kenobi at the end of the film,
Does
pretty
he
sure
have
you
the
see it
lightsaber?
hanging from his waist.
I don't know. I don't because I know there's the one scene where he's hanging on and he's scraping
Yeah.
his nails, right?
And
That's
it
the end of the
falls.
fight.
Yeah, and then he falls. He gets into the sort of duct worked, right? And then
Did that all happen in one?
Well, no, he hits the
Yeah.
Senate. I would say he hits the Senate floor,
Yeah.
and then
Oh, and then
it
it
cuts
cuts
to
away.
Palpatine's point POV, and he's looking out over, and he doesn't see him, and then it cuts back to Yoda in the
In the
mesh
ducts,
work.
yeah, and then he
exactly.
calls for Bail Organa to come pick him up.
No, he didn't. After he dropped it, he escaped Bail Organa. I'm just gonna say he picked it up after he hit the ground, and then made a dip for it. I'm just gonna assume that's the case.
Well, I don't even think
Wow.
they care so much how it happened. I think it was just there to
Or
to
shit,
kind of
maybe after the New Republic takes over, like, Coruscant or whatever. I know technically it doesn't
Maybe.
happen for a lot of years afterward in the EU, but, like,
Well, this
maybe
is new
they,
canon,
like,
so it
find it,
doesn't
or,
matter.
yeah, maybe they just find it or whatever.
Maybe it
and
was
he's just
Sidious's
like,
trophy in his trophy room on Coruscant.
yeah,
And
I
when
would
it was
just, I
raided,
would
it
just
was
say
given
that the
to-
most likely thing is, as he, like, is running from Palpatine, he, like, just grabs it.
yeah. I
He
think
just, like,
that
force pulls it to himself and dips.
I think the trophy one could probably be a better.
I think that's
explanation for
a
that.
more fun kind
Yeah,
of.
because I feel like Sidious is the guy to relish his defeat
Oh, of course.
Yoda and to kind of
Be like, yeah, remember that small guy?
Remember that actual Muppet?
remember Kermit the Frog that
The ketamine addicted Kermit?
yeah.
Bruh, just Disney leaving plot holes? I don't even think it's a plot hole, to be honest.
That's too small.
No,
That's too
I think
small.
it is a plot hole because like Star Wars fans will question anything
I just
that's
feel,
ever.
I don't know, I feel like
with
that's
all this,
nitpicking.
I think with all this kind of stuff, you have to suspend your disbelief. It's like with it's like if you want to enjoy a Marvel movie, especially something like Endgame, you got to just like kind of roll with it. You know, like how is Captain there at the end of the movie? That doesn't make sense. That's not how they explain the timeline stuff. Who cares? Roll with it. It's fantasy space stuff. What like you know.
Yeah, but
I
To a degree.
I don't
Like,
think
there's
it's
only
a-
so much you can suspend your disbelief, and I agree with that. But I'm just saying, like with something like that, it's like you can
No, but
like
I-
make up something in your mind.
I guarantee you that this will be rectified or it will be answered in some sort of like
I don't think it has to be.
I'm not saying it has to be, but I know it will because I know that's how the Star Wars canon used to work, even back before Disney bought it, and that's how it's going to work now. Especially now because fans are so vocal about it on social media. Someone on Twitter will tweet Pablo Hidalgo, and they'll be like,
Oh my god, that slime.
they'll be like, "Yo, how'd Luke get Yoda's lightsaber?" And then he'll either respond to it in the tweet, which is now canon apparently, or they'll like put it in the filing
Oh, man.
cabinet. of
Disney
Plot
execs
Armor.
are just living, they are the
Alright.
living canon.
I wish they just like pull a Tolkien and just be like, I don't know. I don't know how.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I don't know how.
Make it up for yourself. It's fine.
There is room for
That would
the
be- that
unknown.
would be so
It's just
awesome.
I don't think that's the
I don't-
trend that happens with a lot
and
of
like,
Star
no,
Wars
and that's-
stuff.
that's
right?
unfortunate.
That's fair.
I
That's
just
a
don't
fair,
think. I just don't think it needs to. I don't think it needs to be answered. I don't think it needs to be like explained. Like, I mean,
It's such
Rob,
a small thing.
you were talking about like suspension disbelief. I don't think you have to suspend your disbelief at all to say a Jedi just force pulled it to himself.
No,
and he
well, I agree
like,
with you.
I genuinely don't think
Hold
it's
on,
that big
I
of a
agree
deal.
with you, but if you're having such trouble with it, you know, like then just suspend your
Sure,
disbelief.
yeah, no. Yeah,
But
I hear you.
I came up with a solution in like 6 seconds.
2.0
Like,
seconds.
Palpatine's trophy. There you go.
Yeah.
I just handed it to you on a silver platter.
Well, we do know in canon that someone does get Luke's old lightsaber when his hand gets cut off on Bespin.
Yes,
that
we
happens
do.
in the comic books.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So if Luke's lightsaber,
Wasn't it like junk scrappers or
no,
whatever?
no, someone catches it,
Oh, okay.
If
and
Luke's-
that person turns out to be another sort of Force wielder.
Well,
Yeah.
Sensitive.
and there you go. And
But
if
not a
Luke's
Jedi.
lightsaber can be found, then I think Yoda's can be found from the floor of the.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they probably would have found it and just like, you
It's
know.
like here you
Just
go, my lord.
Yeah,
there you
yeah,
go.
similar to how Commander Cody gives Obi-Wan his lightsaber on
there you go.
Utapau.
You'll be
and-
needing this,
Yeah,
you know?
and then 5 seconds later, he's like, "Oh, whoops, maybe I shouldn't have given it to him."
After me
Yeah.
and my family watched an episode of Book of Boba Fett, we actually DM'd Dave Filoni on Instagram saying how much we love him.
Aw, that's so cute.
That's nice.
I'm glad you did that. Anyways.
I wouldn't do that. Where's Boba Fett? Dave
We'll
Fil-
get- we
Dave
will-
Filoni. Dave Filoni. Where's Boba Fett?
Yeah.
Anyways, that's the scene I liked. That was the question.
That was the question.
I like the
We
the,
can't
the
just
scene-
stay on topic.
the lightsaber
Awesome.
Kada.
What is the scene you liked?
Yeah,
What didn't
I like that.
What didn't I like? That's the thing. Order 66 was great.
No.
Everything
One
was.
thing.
ev-
Just keep it in your
rules
I
don't apply
will.
to him.
I am the Senate.
Right.
I vote myself emergency powers.
That is
everything
fantastic.
with Order 66. By the way, the visuals of Order 66 looked great.
Oh yeah.
They looked fantastic. Everything with Luke was fantastic. Well, almost everything with Luke was
I didn't say
great.
anything this time.
Ahsoka was fine. You know, she was kind of stood there, said some cryptic shit and cryptic shit
Chicken
and
shit
left.
and
She's a
You know-
cryptic chick.
The Force Powers of Grogu was like, but I think my favorite part of the whole episode was the small little conversation Ahsoka has with Luke.
Of course it was.
And I'm sorry.
course it
I'm
was.
sorry. You know that you know how I am.
That's
infidel.
funny.
And Luke is like, you know, questioning if Grogu's up to it, kind of questioning himself a little bit. Ahsoka's like, nah, you're fine, champ. Listen to your instincts. Like your dad. And I'm not gonna lie,
He actually
I
cried.
teared up a little bit. I was like, yay, finally, please. And then they brought me to the edge of, shall we say, excitement.
See where
And then they pulled back at the last
it's
second.
those scenes where you're like, man, where's John Denver to write an amazing score for this?
Aim, yo, the fact that Binary Sunset or like Across the Stars did not play.
Well, no,
It's
across,
a
wasted
crime against humanity.
Across the Stars is Anakin and Padme's thing. They
I
shouldn't have done
know,
that.
but
there.
like,
It's like I feel like that's very much their sort of.
but if you're gonna pull on me heartstrings, pull on them
Do it
all the
right.
way.
I feel like Binary Sunset is more appropriate.
Mark Hamill voice acted Luke, which is cool.
Yeah.
Good.
I will
Anyone else
say
is a heresy.
I will say I don't think that the face technology is there quite yet.
But
I-
it's pretty freaking
It's
close.
pretty
I
damn
think
close.
they're like maybe around 90% there. It is better than Tarkin and Leia from Rogue One.
Oh my
Absolutely.
god, yes.
Hands down.
No, but I don't even think that was a bad like.
No, it wasn't bad. It just looked like you could tell, like, damn.
Yeah, I could still tell here that it was sort of
Well,
like
some-
there's a
some
little bit
parts-
uncanny valley to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
There were some parts where, like, some, like, I guess, kind of shots, I guess,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. I think
of his
for-
face that were like, that doesn't look
I think
right.
for the biggest thing for me is the voice didn't quite line up perfectly with the face.
Right.
And I don't know what it is. It's just like something subconscious about it that
Well, it's
that
because
was
you know. Like, you know that's not
I maybe,
Mark Hamill.
but I still think even if I didn't
I
know,
think
I
the
would
brain
have a
has a
nagging
thing with
feeling.
symmetry. You're like, oh, that doesn't look right.
Well, yeah, but we're trained as humans to recognize other people's faces. Like
Yeah.
that's the most critical thing when it comes to this stuff, right? You can
Right.
easily CGI a hand or a foot, but when it comes to the face, that's
why
the
it's so
hardest.
hard.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing to do because we're so critical about it. We recognize faces so well.
But like,
Right.
but like, let's be honest. If that was like in a video game, that would be next gen, right?
well, that's fine.
That's the thing. But like in this, it's just weird. It's a
yeah.
little
I don't know if you guys have seen the Unreal Engine demo for the Matrix
That's the thing.
Resurrection.
I was like holding my tongue every time, like when you first see Luke, when you see the Order 66 stuff. I'm like, this is Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
This is stuff made in Unreal Engine.
I don't know. It
looks
could be.
like some of the fan
Exactly.
things
Yeah.
on YouTube. Which, by
Exactly.
the way,
Oh, phenomenal!
The one
Have you
YouTube-
seen the Commando stuff?
have you seen the Revan Malik stuff?
No, I've just seen the Commando stuff.
I'll show you that after the podcast is done. It
Please
looks
do.
beautiful. But yeah, no, like fantastic work overall in the whole episode. But yeah, for me, it's the Ahsoka Luke conversation.
Fair enough.
I know a lot of Star Wars fans. Ever since we got live action, look, all right. Rob's on the other side, shaking the empty water jug at me. I'll get you more. Relax. A lot of people have been begging, like, ever since we got Ahsoka in live action, ever since we got, Luke of, like, 2019, 2020, 2020, not 2019, 2021, 2022, they've been like, okay, so when are they going to meet, and when are they going to
Right.
talk about the giant elephant in the room? I feel like we finally got a peek behind that curtain. I'm hoping they do more with that.
I'm glad they didn't go like way in depth though with that episode. That would just be kind of off.
Well,
I think they did it perfectly. Although I'm still like, why in this season?
I think we're missing out on their first meeting. I think that's something that like we need to see. Like we need to see where they first.
I think we will.
get. I don't know. Maybe I hope we do.
I think we will in Mandalorian.
But that's the problem with how
At
segmented
this
this whole
point,
thing
just
has
give Luke
become.
and Grogu his own show.
Yeah, but
I'll watch it. Like, it's fine.
yeah, but you don't know where to expect it. You know what I mean? It's like if you watch Boba Fett and now you're seeing Mandalorian and Luke's Jedi Academy and stuff. It's like, okay, well, where can I expect that to happen? They messed around a lot with that.
Let's get into that conversation.
Yeah.
The
Like what we
conversation
did.
of this is a series. Before anyone bites our heads off, okay? We're not saying we didn't enjoy the episode. We all did.
Yeah.
We all very much enjoyed the
And
episode.
to be clear, I think they did a really good job with Luke. It's just there's
my
a
favorite
tiny
episode
bit
by
more.
far.
There's a tiny bit more they could have done with Luke.
Yeah. However,
Like give him 5 years and it'll be good. Sorry.
right.
But
The question is, this is a series that is supposed to be dedicated to Boba Fett, right? This was supposed to be, and this is exactly how they marketed it, was the Godfather of Star Wars, right?
I ain't
And
catch
so
any
far,
Godfather vibes.
we have 2 back-to-back episodes on the back end of the series
nearing the
Literally
of
penultimate episodes.
Boba Fett. And I understand, well, he showed up in this episode. It was his back. Like, that's not...
He had a face shot and that was
he's a
about it.
And that was
cameo
it.
in his own
In his
show.
own
Yeah.
show.
Like-
So...
He pretty much got the same amount of screen time as he did on the Star Destroyer in Empire. That's
Yeah.
pretty much the extent.
Yeah, he had more
He
screen
didn't
time
actually.
in
He
Empire.
didn't even. He had more screen time and lines in that one scene than in an entire episode.
Oh, that's sad. It's so sad. Yeah, so we don't quite... I think I speak for all 3 of us here, is if you have a show that's dedicated toward a particular character, and you spend 2 episodes back-to-back on the back end of the series that's finishing in one episode, and you don't give us anything, what the hell, guys?
Yeah, it's
Well,
Like, what the hell?
Unreal.
They
I
gave
don't
us a
understand
lot.
this.
They gave us a lot. It
but
just,
it just
isn't
wasn't
related
right.
to
It
Boba
wasn't.
Fett.
They gave us a lot, but not at the right time.
Yeah, I like what they have here is gold, but it's just not.
Is your leg okay?
like
I am fidgeting.
Clearly. Sorry, Luke.
no, but it's like they have something really good here. It's just they've like misaligned it or they've placed it in the wrong spot and it's not reaching its full potential. You know what I
Should
mean?
have been in the Mandalorian.
Yeah, it should have been in the Mandalorian.
What should have happened was you see you can see Mandalorian, that's fine, but then he has to go right to Boba,
Yeah,
and then you can have all that kind of
Exactly.
finicky stuff in his season.
Yeah, and you can reference it in The Mandalorian. You can
even
start
have flashbacks and stuff or whatever.
Yeah, and you can say like, "Oh, I went to visit Boba Fett, and then the work is done. Now I'm going to Mandalore or wherever else, right after the Battle of Mos Espa or whatever."
Like, they could have done it really, really well.
Yeah, this is just kind of messy.
It's almost like they're crunched for time, and they're just like kind of throwing stuff together.
I don't even know if that's what it is, because to me, I know a lot of people have a lot of reverence for Dave Filoni, and I do think that he's done a lot for the Star Wars.
Look at the Clone Wars.
Exactly right, but I think sometimes, if I may, I do think sometimes he gets maybe a little bit too ambitious sometimes. And the thing is, I don't even know if Filoni is the main showrunner for the show, but it feels kind of like he is in a sense, because or whoever is the main showrunner feels like they're sort of writing a fan fiction almost, and they want to like bring a lot of stuff into it, and it's really good stuff. It's just the wrong place and the wrong time for it. You know what I mean?
It's this. Sorry, go ahead, Rob.
I think if he's trying to do like these multifaceted kind of story arcs with like and all this stuff, I think he should probably like get help from a very, very experienced writer that knows.
Yeah, exactly, right. Because the pacing is back and forth. It's like, oh, we're on Tatooine. Okay, now we're on the Jedi Academy. Now we're back on Tatooine, right?
He, like I, on this podcast, needs someone to keep it like on the rails. I'm sorry. To me, and again, we love the stuff, but to me, this is the ultimate jumping the gun. This is them going, we have Mandalorian Season 3 sitting in our back pocket waiting to be released, but instead we have no patience. We're just going to chuck it all at once now.
So it's like, I don't know if you guys ever watched this show, but me and my girlfriend are watching it. I'm re-watching Lost. She's watching it for the first time. So, have you ever watched Lost?
I have not watched Lost. I understand the
So it's kind of the first of its kind with this like huge overarching story with like multiple characters and backgrounds and stuff. And at least for the first 3 seasons, it was paced really well. And you have all these characters and you get all the backstories, and it's done really well. So if they could kind of like, I don't know, get the guy who wrote it and paced it in that fashion to go into this sort of Star Wars arc, that would be so good. I guess you have to watch the show.
That's really funny. That's really funny because unless I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure J.J. Abrams was a producer for Lost.
Was he actually?
I think so.
Hold on. There's a difference between a producer and like directing it, right?
Well, if you're talking about story, then the showrunners and the screenwriters are the most important. The director follows the script. He has a vision, that's for sure, but he follows the script. And I think a lot of people underestimate how influential a producer can be, because the producer is the financial backing for the movie.
Of course, they can tell you what to do.
Exactly,
right.
Well,
that's the thing.
So, I don't know what J.J. Abrams did, but I'm pretty sure he was involved in Lost. Because I remember when the whole sequel wars, when that whole, battlefield was going on, a lot of people mentioned how J.J. Abrams set up a lot of mystery boxes in Lost, and none of them, I haven't seen Lost, but apparently none of them were answered by the end of the show. Like, it was a complete disappointment compared to what the beginning of the show had as a promise, right? And people were using this as like, see, J.J. Abrams is a really good guy to start a thing, but he's not a good guy to end it, right? In reference to Rise of Skywalker, right? So I just think that's kind of funny, because I'm pretty sure he was involved with that. And maybe that's why you like... Because you said you like the first 3 seasons a lot, right?
Well, like I do, but I like all of it.
Okay, so honest. Even like the ending parts.
Personally, like, first of all, I haven't watched it for like a long time.
Right.
But I'm going to say yes.
Really quickly, Bill, thank you for the donation of 5 cents. I appreciate it.
That is amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you for your
Going
pennies.
Straight to Twitch.
Thank you for your shekels. I appreciate the shekels.
You need to get that thing. You know that thing that streamers have where it's like, and it's like,
it shows
this person donated. Yeah.
Once I get my PC running, I can do that, but I can't do it over the PlayStation.
Oh, you should. You know what you should do? You should have like pay someone or like have someone like animate Luke versus Vader from Return of the Jedi, but make it like 8-bit and pixelated or whatever, and then play that whenever someone donates. That'd be pretty sick.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. You have to do that.
I agree.
Like if they donate more, it's like Luke versus Vader in Episode 6 or something. Like you should have like different
or it's Anakin versus Obi-Wan.
On Mustafar.
Say they donate $100. It's
or you could even do like Obi-Wan versus Maul.
Yeah. And
my
Qui-Gon.
with Duel
You
of
could
Fates playing.
You could just have it. Yeah, you could have a bunch.
Can you imagine you're just sitting there quietly gaming away, and all it is like it gets really quiet, and it's like, dun, Jesus Christ. I just set up alerts for my channel when someone follows. Oh, well, good for you, Bill. Sorry, that came off
So
really
apathetic.
anger. I just set up alerts for my channel. All right, well, I'll figure it out. Twitch is confusing. I don't do technology. It's not a thing I do. That's why I have Luca here.
Hence the Luddite.
He's my personal IT support.
Yeah.
Rob is just
What
here
were we
for-
talking
for-
about?
Rob is the C3PO to this fan group. He's the comic relief.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wait, what
I
was
prefer to
the?
be Jar Jar if you don't mind.
I wanted
Will
to.
you
Bring,
elect me emergency powers for a more safe
I actually
and
haven't.
secure
I
environment?
actually haven't lended you any emergency powers. You just took that upon yourself.
Yeah, it's true. No!
well, it is
Why
his
is
channel,
this?
So.
Oh, the stream ended there for a second. I almost lost my shit. Okay,
Did it
we're
not?
good.
I do want to say one more
Fine.
thing. You said something that I very much vibe with. You said that Dave Filoni needs someone to like put him on the rail, so to speak.
Yeah,
To
well,
keep him on
clearly
track?
he's not experienced to do this sort of like this multi-layered storytelling.
Right.
So he needs some help.
And that reminds me of a lot. He's very similar to George Lucas in a sense like that, I think, where he has like a lot of really cool ideas, and he's
Yeah,
very
for
much
sure.
an ideas man. But maybe sometimes he needs, whether it be a script doctor or whether it be other story writers to help him sort of
Like put his ideas
hammer
onto paper
exactly
and
right hammer
it
down
out.
some stuff, because a lot of people, the problems they have with the prequels is that he's surrounded by a lot of yes men, which isn't factually correct in my opinion, at least if you look at the production. But like I understand where the sentiment comes from, where they say he's like surrounded by a bunch of yes men and it was entirely his story and whatever, and that's why they don't like it as much as the OT, right? Because he was more carte blanche, if you will, with what he can do, right? So I think that's an interesting comparison to make,
Yeah, for
So
sure.
maybe they're similar like that, where they have like a lot of good ideas that we want to see, but they just need to be
directed.
yeah.
Like,
It's like you have really pretty puzzle pieces that make a really amazing puzzle,
but you
just
need
got
to know how to put it together.
exactly. You
Yeah,
got to
you
figure
need
out where
somebody to know,
they
yeah.
fit in. Yeah.
Bill, thank you again for your 3 pennies. I appreciate it.
I really like Bill.
We have made 8 cents today.
That's my
folks.
favorite number. Thank you very much.
It's my favorite number.
No, 8 is.
8.
Oh,
8 is. Yeah.
Because he gave 5 before.
Do not
Oh.
donate any more. Stop it there.
Oh,
That's
you like 8 too? I love 8.
Yeah.
Continue
8 is
the
interesting.
donos, friends. Continue the donos.
8 is the best number.
8 is the best
8 is the
number.
Obi-Wan Kenobi of numbers.
I agree.
I'm a number 30 man myself, but that's just...
30.
Double
That's such an
digits? What
abstract
is
number.
wrong?
Hold on, we got another... That's 9 cents
No.
now.
Oh, you ruined it.
Keep up. Let's make it 10 cents, shall we? Rake in... That way you can just give your money to Twitch at that point. Good stuff.
What are we talking about now? Like,
We have gone...
Austin,
I
rein it
can't-
back in.
Luca, I
Bring
have
us on
tried
track.
for years to rein these conversations in to no avail. Oh, we're at 10 cents, boys. Let's go.
Okay, anyways,
This is wholesome.
I'll do it now. One thing that you disliked about the episode. Austin, go first.
The fact that Boba Fett isn't in it.
Okay, Rob? I don't think you need to
fact
say
that
more.
The fact that we have a Boba Fett show and we have no Boba Fett. What the hell?
Do I have to say something different? Because
Yes,
I've been
yes, you
saying
do.
this the
Yes,
whole
you do.
time. Thanks.
Use your
You're welcome.
creativity.
Wow. Okay. Oh, this is Boba Fett.
Okay, you can corroborate his story. That's fine.
Oh, like I can expand.
Yeah, you can expand upon it.
Well, first of all, he wasn't in the last episode, which I wasn't okay with, but like I'll let it slide. But the fact that you have 2 back-to-back ones is just like
Do your job.
it's not
Twice
even
the
like
pride, double the fall.
Oh.
it's like it's not even like
Chad
that.
says, quote, "It was literally perfect in every way, in my opinion."
Okay, I respect your opinion, but
Here we go.
it's still wrong, and here's why. It's called the Book of Boba Fett. There's 7 episodes, and you honestly, You need to have.
Hold on, are you
Boba Fett.
lying or are you being honest?
You need to.
So I can't tell right now.
Sorry, you need to have Boba Fett in every episode. So the fact that you didn't have him in at all in one, and then you had the audacity
The audacity!
to not have him in yet another episode when the finale is like a week away, right?
Yo, guys, what if we did the prequel of Star Wars? The prequel of Anakin turning into Vader. But we don't have Anakin in it.
That is fantastic. Let's do that.
So give this man $300 million and send
The
him
better
to
analogy would
company.
be they have Anakin in it, but only in the form of like a TV, and they show him pod racing at like a sports bar or something.
Yes!
That's where they show Anakin.
Like he's in the first. He's in Phantom Menace. He's not in the second one.
Yeah.
He's like, it's like a holograph of him killing the sand people, and then it goes to.
Yeah.
Chat says, but the Mandalorian was there. What else could you want? The issue isn't
We want
that
Boba Fett.
We want Boba Fett. We want, if you're going to have a series that's called Book of Boba Fett, you need to have Boba Fett in it.
Thank you.
I don't know how else to make this clear.
like, I
the
thought-
episode, no one. Okay, none of the
Calm
three.
down.
Hold on. I thought we already.
None of the three of us think the episode is bad. The episode is
Far-
great.
far from
It
it.
may be.
Yeah.
It may be the best episode of the entirety of the series. The issue is
That it's in the
I'm
series.
literally using my hands to talk right now. Oh.
He's doing some weird gesture. The fact of the matter is that it is in this series, and it shouldn't be.
Yes, that's fine.
And yet, but it's still an amazing episode.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine the absolute euphoria? Not to say that there isn't euphoria now. Could you imagine the utmost euphoria if this was episode 1 of Mandalorian season 3?
Yeah.
So cool. And if frickin' Boba Fett had the cameo as he did, maybe with a
No,
little
I'm
dialogue.
fine.
Boba Fett doesn't need a cameo in Mandalorian. Boba Fett has his own show.
Fine that he does.
Chat says it's, quote, I'm fine if Boba isn't there. I like the Mandalorian, so I don't need Boba anymore. Then stop watching the show.
Yeah, honestly, like, why are you watching it at that point?
You know what I think they should
makes
do?
sense.
You know what I think Disney should do if they were smart, in my opinion? Scrap this whole like one character per season thing. Make a show called Star Wars Tales. Revive that old comic book stuff. Make a show called Star Wars Tales and have every episode just be its self-contained closed thing.
Kind of like Visions.
Yeah, exactly like Visions, because fans would love that so much, and then you wouldn't have us.
It'd be very.
Yeah, you wouldn't have us complaining about how it doesn't fit thematically because each episode is its own thing, right?
It would be very reminiscent of the 2003 Clone Wars animation.
Yeah, exactly. Do what the X-Files did. Have like a Monster of the Week sort of thing, except instead of that, or instead of that, just have every episode be its own shtick,
That would be
and then
really
you
cool.
can bring whoever you want into live action. Because I can tell that these showrunners are like itching at the bit, so to speak, to bring in more and more like
They
fan
just want to
favorites.
tell a story.
Yeah, they want to tell us a story, but
And that's fine.
Yeah, I've said my piece about Cad Bane, and personally, I don't believe he needs to be in Book of Boba Fett. But if you want to make some other random episode with Cad Bane and have him be the center of it, go for it.
I'll watch it.
Yeah, it's so easy. You play within your own sandbox of the episode, and you're not muddying the sandbox of the entire show. That's
Chat-
I feel like. Sorry.
Chat said, bro, if you're gonna say quote, then say it exactly the same. I didn't say that I don't need Boba anymore. I said I don't need any more. Okay, fine, fair, whatever. But your exact quote was, I'm fine if Boba isn't there. I like the Mandalorian, so I don't need any more. Is it really unfair for me to think that you missed I don't need, and I thought you missed Boba between need and any more? So, are you okay with just... and this is a genuine question. You don't have to answer it if you don't want to. This is a genuine question. If the Book of Boba Fett... and like, when you say I don't need any more, do you mean, like, you don't need any more episodes of Book of Boba Fett? Like, you're fine with it being done here? Or, like, you don't need any more Mandalorian? Or you don't need... Like, what do you mean by you don't need any more? Like, episodes, or...
Boba.
Well, that's what I thought, but then he said
No,
no.
but that makes sense because in the context that
Right,
he's
because it
talking
literally says, if you're, I'm fine if Boba isn't there. I like the Mandalorian, so I don't need any more.
Yeah, that makes,
I don't know.
That's fair.
But I think that's what they should do. I think that would make a lot of people happy, right? That's my opinion.
Again, I still
Yeah,
have to
right.
watch Visions.
Yeah, and Visions was cool for what it was. And it has a lot of freedom. I think.
I don't need any more of anything else other than Boba and Mando.
So you do need Boba. I'm confused now. Hold
Yeah.
on.
Anyways, moving on. Moving on.
Yeah, I don't know. Can we get into the discussion that I want to talk about?
Yes.
About
Yes.
Luke Skywalker?
Luca, fire away.
Yeah.
We got an hour left, so we got plenty of time.
So, this is absolutely, I'll admit this right away, this is unfounded hearsay on my behalf, and I could be entirely misreading things. I'll be straight up with that. But it seems to me, in this episode at least, that they're sort of going the route of Luke's new Jedi Order will also, if not shun attachment, it'll look down upon attachment, sort of a la old Jedi Order.
Yep.
And we get a little bit of it where Ahsoka doesn't want Mando to meet Baby Yoda because it could be,
Stressful.
opening old wounds or something like that. And I understand that, and I'm willing to explain it away in the sort of like, oh, she's not doing it because of attachment, she just genuinely cares about Mando and Mando and Baby Yoda, and she doesn't want them to like feel any more discomfort.
He needs to focus on what he's doing.
Exactly,
He can't
right.
be held down
So
by it.
I'm okay to dismiss that, but it's one thing that Luke says at the end of the episode where he says, if you take the chainmail, again, I'm not quoting verbatim here whatsoever, and I don't remember exactly how he
You're
said
paraphrasing.
it. Yeah, but he said something along the lines of, if you do take the chainmail, or if you don't take the chainmail, something like that, then you have to forsake your attachments, or like...
Basically, you can take the chainmail, or you can choose the lightsaber, but the chainmail represents your life with Mando,
Yeah.
and the lightsaber is the life of a Jedi.
Right, and
you have
he
the choice to choose
he
those.
specifically mentions, if I'm correct, attachment or something like that. So I'm worried that they might go that route of like Luke's Jedi Academy will be sort of similar to the old Jedi Temple in a sense.
Which kind of negates the whole reason why the Jedi Order fell in the first
Right,
place.
right, yeah. So if I can get in more into that, like I think that is completely sort of, again, I don't, if they don't do this, then forget all of this. Forget I said anything. But if they do, I think it's completely negating the character development that Luke had, especially in Return of the Jedi, right? Luke's whole arc throughout basically Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi is that he is being trained by the old guard, and he's being told what the old guard thought was right. He has these people that had a certain outlook on the Force and a certain outlook on life, and it got them to where they are now, for better or for worse, right? And they're trying to apply their sort of teachings and ways onto Luke, right? But Luke is very steadfast and adamant in the fact that he doesn't want to be like them, right? He doesn't know exactly what it is, but something about Obi-Wan and Yoda saying that the only way to defeat Vader and the only way to become a Jedi is to kill him. Something deep within Luke is fundamentally wrong about that. He feels that it's wrong. And the whole film is him coming to terms with the fact that, no, killing Vader isn't the only option here, right? I can do better because I feel the good in Vader. I believe in him, right? And I think it's that really powerful message of, like, you can have... It's sort of an interesting spin on the wise old master trope, right? Usually the wise old master provides helpful advice, and Obi-Wan and Yoda definitely do, but in an interesting spin on it, that advice isn't maybe the best advice.
Right.
Or some of it isn't the best, and Luke has to learn to trust his gut and trust his feelings, right?
His instincts.
Exactly, and in the end, he realizes that he was right. He saves Vader, they defeat Palpatine, the Sithari, if you will, and I think that moving forward from that point, that would be a very key defining moment for Luke. That would sort of define his whole philosophy, right? I don't think he would be one to shun attachment. I think the more so that he researches about Anakin, especially talking to Ahsoka about it. I don't think Ahsoka's one to talk about attachment in the first place, because she's not a model Jedi whatsoever. She's a great character, but not a model Jedi. She did kind of get exiled from the Jedi, and when
unfairly.
I agree, unfairly, but
for political reasons.
Well, okay,
but when offered the choice to come back,
she didn't get exiled. She chose to leave.
Well,
because after the trial, the Jedi are like, "You were innocent. Our bad. Welcome back to the Jedi."
In fact, we'll grant you the rank of Jedi Knight.
Yeah, but she chose to leave. So obviously, her ideals are in conflict somewhat with the Jedi, right?
Yeah.
So she's not very much. So I don't feel like it'd be characteristic of her, who is very much attached to Anakin, to say, "Oh, attachment is bad." I just think like moving forward, Luke should be one to focus on that and deal with it, because attachment, in my opinion, when it comes to the Force, isn't a bad thing. It just has to be understood and it has to be moderated, right? You can. It's not bad to feel emotions like fear or anger or stuff like that. What's important is that you control it, right? If you just keep suppressing it like the Jedi do, it's gonna come to a head.
A bomb will go off, and that bomb was Anakin.
Yeah. So. And this is what Luke very much did in the old expanded universe. I know I bring it up a lot, but they did not shun attachment. Jedi had families. Jedi had lives. They grew attached to these people, right?
Yeah.
Luke had a wife and a son, right? And the Academy was very much more centered around control of one's emotions, right? And not just suppressing them. Right. So I apologize for the long tirade, but I feel like if they do go that route, it'll be squandering not just the development that Luke's had, but squandering a lot of potential we have to see a different outlook on Jedi and Force users, right. I think.
Right. Chat says, I wanted Grogu to take the Mithril chain vest. No, he needs to take the lightsaber. Because, in my opinion, if he doesn't take the lightsaber, then I think the whole him going with Luke, him starting the training, will have essentially been for nothing.
Well, maybe it's an homage to Empire, where Luke leaves the training early to go save his friends, and he's not ready.
Maybe, but Luke...
You don't have to always have homages to...
I agree. I entirely agree.
Yeah, and I get that, but like it does kind of feel like Luke is offering an absolute...
Mm-hmm.
You choose life, but only a Sith feels an absolute. And it feels weird. It's like, look, you can either have your life with Mando, or you can have your life as a Jedi. It takes years to truly master the Force, and he openly says, and a little while for you is a lifetime for other people, given how long his species lives for. So, like, I don't know. It kind of feels like it now. If they want to do the whole he leaves then comes back, my only problem with that is, given how limited his ability is with the Force so far, I don't really know what would force him back. The thing is, I can't think of anything that would force him back with Luke.
Oh, I do.
Is someone going to hunt him?
Oh, force him back with Luke.
Maybe he just wants to continue his training. But
what would make him... But then my question is, what would make him leave Mando?
To continue his training.
But is that if the urge to...
I think the biggest problem...
I don't know, it feels weird.
I think the biggest problem is that we don't know how emotionally mature Baby Yoda is.
Right.
We can't see him speak, right? So we don't know if he's at the point of development where he's really like created this strong bond with Mandalorian. But he also wants to continue, because we know that the reason he's training with Luke is because Mandalorian basically gave him to Luke, right?
Right.
But we don't know if that's what Baby Yoda wants.
Sure, but it does kind of seem like Grogu chose to go with Luke.
Sure, yeah, I guess. You know,
like at the end of the episode, he literally says like, "You need to go," and he's like, "All right, fine, I'll go with Luke or whatever. It'll be fine, whatever." Like that
we just don't know because he can't say it.
Right, exactly. It's hard to like dive into a creature's intentions when it literally can't speak and all it's doing is cooing noises.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't like that he offers an absolute. I think what he should have done is like let Mando visit Yoda or Baby Yoda periodically and like let him interact with that sort of side of
because he is still a foundling.
Yeah,
that would be really cool.
Right.
Actually,
and I would completely understand if push came to shove, drawing the line at maybe letting Baby Yoda get involved with the Mandalorians. I understand that, right? Like, let's say Mando returns and asks for Baby Yoda help to retake Mandalore, then I understand Luke being like, no, that's a little too much, right? Because then you're getting politically involved.
Because now the Jedi are becoming warriors.
Exactly. Right. I understand that.
Monks.
But I see no reason.
They're called Jedi Knights.
That's beside the point.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Tis but a title.
They have swords.
An apt title.
Used only in defense, never for attack.
Have you seen the Old Republic
Look,
videos?
I'm quoting Yoda.
Have you watched the Old Republic videos?
To be fair, every single one of those is in defense.
Is in defense.
When they attack Coruscant, that's in defense. When they try to retake Korriban, that's in defense. During the Battle of Alderaan is a Republic planet that's attacked by the Sith Empire, so that's in defense.
It's all in self-defense.
Damn.
The Jedi never go to attack.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn it. Okay.
They get pretty
if you want to
aggressive.
count like a downward slash as an attack, then like Sure, but I feel like you're playing.
Well, they get aggressive, but like on the grand scheme of things, they're on the
I
defensive.
can see that they do. They
Yeah,
all do that.
especially the Jedi Temple. I mean, they crashed the ship into the Jedi Temple, and like
Obviously, the Jedi's are the aggressors in that.
yeah, obviously, right? They baited them to the. It was a false flag operation, right? They're like,
Exactly.
oh yeah, we got to get the
Sith
to
were
attack.
actually Jedi in black clothes.
Yeah,
It was all publicity stuff.
yeah,
We want to start a war against the Empire.
yeah. They have to instigate
We
it.
want to start a war against the Republic, and the first thing we're going to do is have a false flag operation.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
but
Lord.
I just don't
Good
want
times.
them to. We'll have to see. Well, is there going to be a Luke show? Is there going to be like a Luke
I hope-
Jedi's Academy
Just give
show?
me a Luke and Grogu show.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Yeah.
I hope not. I don't want to see CGI Luke that whole time. It's just weird. I don't know why he'd need a show.
I don't need to see Kenobi fight Vader again. What? Here we
I
are.
agree. We don't need the
But here
Kenobi
we
show.
are.
We absolutely do not
That's
need
a
that.
good point.
Oh, I
To
actually.
be fair, I don't give
Hashtag
it.
cancel Kenobi.
I also don't care about the Cassian Andor show.
Who?
I don't. Right, exactly. Or the guy from Rogue One,
Diego Luna's
the main
character?
love interest for
He's getting a show.
yeah, he's getting a show.
Are you
and it
cracked?
hasn't been canceled, and it's going to come out this year.
Yeah.
Are you cracked?
Maybe,
Cracked at Fortnite.
and we may or may not be watching that. We'll see what happens.
Are you?
Can I bring up a question?
Yes, of course.
So, what would your guys' thoughts be if instead of doing the CGI route that they did the route that Solo went, where they get like a look-alike actor and have them like do like their best impression of Luke? What would you guys feel
thought
like
what
that?
they were going to do with this episode?
Well, how would you feel about that?
I feel,
Positive or negative?
I feel I'm one of these purists who is like either it's the dude or it's nothing. Like, I'm sorry, after James Earl Jones bites it, I don't think we should get any more voice actors for Vader. I think you should just let him go. Just let him go. James is the voice. You can piss off. And I understand, well, Austin, doesn't that mean that you'd have to condemn the video games? Because technically you're doing your gun, there's a voice. It's like, I mean, no, because I don't have to play those. Like,
Well, you don't
go
have to
away.
watch the
watch
movies,
them either.
You know.
I know, but I feel like it cheapens it a little bit. It's like, go away. It's like, for example, a lot of people have said that they would feel weird if someone else did the voice of Maul when what's his face has
Sam Witwer?
done such a fantastic job at
He's
it,
fantastic.
and it feels weird. Or he'll have been saying, "Hey, maybe we can recast Carrie Fisher's daughter as Princess Leia," and everyone's like, "No, because that would be disrespectful to the memory of Carrie Fisher."
Would it?
Even though that's the argument that I've seen predominantly whenever I read things about
I would
like
ask.
replacing
I would
them.
ask her daughter on that because as her daughter, I feel like she
She would
has
probably have more insight onto it.
not more insight, but more of a right to decide that, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People's
Carry on
children.
her mother's memory.
Exactly. Yeah. So
Carry on.
yeah. So if she's okay
Got
with
him.
it, then sure. But if she's not okay with it, then yeah, don't do it, right? So yeah, especially because she would be the one who's playing her, right?
Yeah. I feel like I
So.
broke Rob.
You broke Rob a long
Rob,
time
you gonna be
ago.
okay, Rob? Rob needs a hug. Rob needs a hug. Just
Wow.
no words, eh? No words.
I don't know. That just rubbed me the wrong way. That was a bad.
I'm sure a lot of things have rubbed you the wrong way, Rob.
Like also,
I'll carry you to the fishes, so you can sleep with them. There you go.
That was awful.
Yeah, I know. It was,
should-
it was as bad as you.
You should have to. No, mine was great.
Yours was great.
Technically, it wasn't
Terrible.
even mine. I was quoting you. Because you said, Carrie. Anyways,
Wow.
moving on. Luca, you were saying.
because
Luca's been the backbone of this podcast.
yeah,
this episode, he really has.
have you guys seen that thing where people were like fan casting for characters or whatever, and a lot of people bring up Sebastian
Stan
Stan
for Luke.
as Luke, right? So I'm just wondering, what if he could do that, right? I don't know. Maybe he could pull it off.
It would
Who knows,
feel
right?
weird to me.
Right.
I mean,
I feel like the voice is a
maybe,
big part. Though.
yeah.
If they get Mark Hamill to voice and then him to act, which would be kind of weird.
I
But
wouldn't
they're
like
already
that.
technically doing that.
Yeah, they are.
They're just doing
Yeah,
the
but they're doing
de-aging
CGI.
Yeah.
They're doing
Yeah.
CGI. Oh, is it? It's not Mark Hamill in the.
I don't know.
Can't be.
I don't know.
It's
not
not.
for the stunt
There's no
stuff.
way.
I don't think. I don't think for like using lightsaber stuff. I don't think so. But Definitely for the voice it is.
For the voice, for sure, but
Yeah.
like it's CG. Like imagine trying to, I don't know, have a like an actor do his thing and then have, I don't know, that would be weird. Have Mark Hamill voice over him. I don't know. That doesn't.
I don't know.
That just seems like it would be.
Well, then you got to find someone who has a good Luke impression, like a very good one, who also has to look the part as
You
well.
have to, you know,
Yeah.
I'm sure
So-
you can.
I'm sure that
Sebastian
exists.
Stan is like
Or-
pretty spot on in
or-
terms of the looks department. I've seen some of like the fan art or whatever of like Sebastian Stan with like a wig or like a cut hair for
Right.
to make him look like Luke. But again, the voice would be the thing that would be like, this feels really weird.
I have a I have a better idea. Just don't make a Luke show.
Right. What I'm just saying in the
pretty cool.
context of this episode, I guess.
Like
Well-
for me, I think that Rosario Dawson does a very good job at playing live action Ahsoka. That's my opinion. However, I won't lie, the voice feels weird to me because Ahsoka's is a much higher pitch, right?
And softer.
Now you can argue like as she gets older, her voice like comes down a bit.
But even in Rebels,
yeah, it's still pretty high pitched, right?
And that's
so
only like a few years before, before this, right? So it's like
it does feel weird a little bit.
it is weird.
I did like the point that you brought up, Luca, where you're like, isn't it weird that technically Ahsoka's twice as old as Luke in this?
yeah. It doesn't feel like she is.
They
right?
look about
Plot
the
twist,
same age.
Ahsoka's actually the Jedi Grand Master this whole time.
Yeah, Cad Bane must be ancient because he's even older than Ahsoka is.
Yeah,
like
he's,
I don't know
he's
how
in his
he's
70s.
Yeah, I
60,
maybe
Yeah,
I-
he's
Well, someone in
and
chat
yet
said that
he's
he was
still about-
66.
in this episode.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I don't think I remember reading this thing a while
Someone get
back.
Cad Bane a walker.
Some psychologists or some people did like this thing where they said how long could Batman fight crime in his prime?
Yeah.
And if Batman was like the peak physicality of humans, like Olympic tier athlete, he could do it for 3 years and that's it. Like he could be Batman for 3 years and then his body couldn't handle it anymore.
Really?
Yeah. And these are like nutritionists and doctors or whatever. And I get it. Star Wars is fantastical. It's it's fiction, sorry. And it doesn't exist. I get it. But still, like, I think 66 is kind of pushing it for a bounty hunter.
Sorry,
Who,
Chad
like-
is correcting me. No, I said the voice actor is 66.
Oh.
Okay.
I-
I still think that Cad Bane's actual age
I'm going to
probably
search
in
up
his
when
60s.
he was born on Wikipedia. So you guys take it away.
All right. Yeah. Cool shit. Do you think that Grogu's going to learn Ataru? The same lightsaber style that Yoda chose? Because it kind of feels like...
it would make sense
'Cause that one's-
considering his
And he's
size.
training him to use the Force to like enhance
Jump.
his mobility,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
So I
again-
would assume that would be the way.
This
This is the way.
Okay, can I just... So,
Go
on
for it.
Wikipedia, it says he was born 62 years before the Battle of Yavin, okay? So that's 62,
Uh-huh.
and then between the Battle of Yavin and Return of the Jedi is 4 more years, so 66. And then Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett take place... Is it 1 or 2 years after Return of the Jedi? I will search that up. So he's at least 67, if not older.
Right.
That's pretty,
He's old.
Yeah.
He's old as shit.
Yeah.
Maybe they're maybe that species is
Maybe that's
very-
true.
Has
that's
longevity?
True. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
just like Yoda's, but not as much.
I don't know.
Yoda's technically in the High Republic
He is.
as a Jedi Knight.
Is that nitpicky to talk about his age? I don't know. If it is, I
don't really care how old he is. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
Look,
I don't
Vader
know.
was in his 50s when he fought Luke in Return
But
of the
Vader is a
Jedi.
Force user, though.
Yeah, well, it's
it's
not like
fine.
Cad Bane was doing flips in that scene. He just pulled a gun.
And it's not as
guess.
if Vader had much of a body, so...
Yeah, he's more machine than.
But that lends
More-
more credence to the fact that he'd be agile because his robotic parts wouldn't tire. They wouldn't get tired.
Yeah, but
he's in
Huh?
pain
he's still
constantly.
he's still in movement. He's still
Sure, but I'm sure it could enhance
sensory.
it. It could enhance it, right?
Well, the pain
of
enhances them.
Of course,
And the mechanical parts too.
considering he's bionic, he's enhanced, but that doesn't mean he won't tire.
Sure, but I think he might tire less. Maybe
Of course.
his legs are like.
It might
super
take him a
efficient.
little bit longer to tire.
Yeah.
But considering what he's doing, like
To be
I
fair,
don't know.
Vader doesn't really... This might sound like heresy to some people, but Vader really doesn't really do much physical shit, if you think about it.
in the comics, he does.
Well, I'm talking about, like, if you just hit the OT. He really, like, in the Empire fight, he barely moves. Like, the first couple of things is, like, swings his arms a little bit. Then he goes on the stairs, Luke does the flip over him, and Vader just kind of looks up and goes, interesting. Swings his arm. Interesting. And then, like, he moves on, and then you see him, like, really start hammering down on him later. But, like, his move, like, he doesn't really move. Like, there's not much movement behind him.
Well, no.
There's a lot of force, but...
Okay, so...
But that makes sense. That was explained, too, right?
Yeah, Chad, it would take him longer to tire because there's less to tire out.
So Mandalorian. Sorry to interrupt. Just one
Go
more
for
thing.
it. Yeah.
Mandalorian takes place 5 years after Return of the Jedi.
Right.
So he'd be 66 plus 5. He'd be 71.
71
I
years
think so.
old. Bane is just chugging
Such
along.
a badass.
He's like real age of Clint Eastwood now.
Imagine
Clint's
you're
older.
70.
Clint's like 90.
Imagine you're
He's 90.
70.
He's like in his 90s.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
jeez. I didn't think he was
ridiculous.
that old.
Imagine your
old.
71-year-old grandpa just like starts blasting people.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Imagine your 71-year-old grandpa is working for a crime syndicate.
honestly,
Shoots up a town.
I'd have a lot of respect for him.
Maybe that's what they meant by The Godfather, you know? Maybe
Oh, yeah,
that's
that was it.
Cad Bane's the real
Cad Bane.
Godfather.
Yes, Cad Bane is the Godfather.
Honestly, I could see like Book of Boba Fett ending with like Cad Bane taking over like Jabba's thing.
Cad Bane kills Boba. What a waste!
Ah.
What a waste!
Can you imagine just like, half the Book of Boba Fett episode is gonna end
But
with him just...
There are more
dropping
Boba Fett
off.
fans than there are Cad Bane fans, so they
Of course,
would
Boba
revolt.
Fett's
I
been that
think
long.
there are some Clone Wars fans which might fight you on that statement.
I disagree. There are more Boba Fett fans. There have to be.
Of course.
Do we have solid figures on that? Like,
Okay, take a
Where's the
census.
data collection?
No, I'm just saying, like,
He's been in the OT. He's technically in the prequels.
yeah, how many people
Like-
cosplay as Boba Fett versus as Cad Bane?
I don't know.
Cad Bane.
You could.
I would, but
Yeah, there's nothing wrong
I'd
with that.
rather
I'm just saying.
cosplay a guy in a Mandalorian helmet.
There you go.
Exactly.
There you go. So, because Boba Fett is.
He's the OG.
He's part of the cultural zeitgeist, right? Like, if you show, like, a Boba Fett toy or, like, an action
He's
figure...
more memorable.
Exactly, yeah. More people are going to know who he is, even if they're unaffiliated with Star
You
Wars
show
lore.
Cad Bane, they're gonna be like, "Who's this guy?"
Exactly,
From
yeah.
like freaking Star Trek.
Yeah.
And then you show Boba Fett, it's like, "Oh yeah, it's like that guy from Star Wars."
Yeah, Star Wars, yeah. Space battle. Yeah.
well, I put a poll in the chat. I guess we'll see. It's a 2-minute poll, guys. We can keep talking. We have plenty of time.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like Boba Fett is more, you know... Because that's why they would have just made a Cad Bane show then. They would... Oh, that's another thing I wanted to bring up.
Which they should.
Why do you think it's called Book of Boba Fett? Where does the book come into play?
He's writing a journal.
Is there a novel
What do
that's
you
coming out?
think he's doing in the back of the tank?
Like, it would make sense if like Boba was like narrating like through every episode, but like that doesn't seem to be the case.
If he was narrating through each and every episode, I'd have flashbacks to Battlefront 2.
Yes, absolutely. If they did it to the
was
same
quiet.
quality of that...
Oh my god, I
if
would cry.
There's that one line where it was like, did we have any
I
doubts?
watched your arm go like, right through that at first. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. What was that line that went? It was like, when he's talking about the attack of the Jedi Temple, he's like, did we have any doubts? Maybe. But nobody voiced them. Or
Yeah,
something. Like, we all
that was
kept
so
quiet.
I remember how
Oh my
quiet it was
God.
on the way to Coruscant.
Yeah,
Oh
like,
like chills.
yeah, if we got that sort
We
of...
all knew what we were gonna do.
Yeah, that would have
Oh,
been really
man.
sick.
That was awesome.
Can you imagine if they like did a one-off story where it was, you know how Finn kind of when they line up to execute everyone in that little village or whatever, Finn's the only one that doesn't fire, but he just kind of stands there pointing his gun. Could you imagine if we got the same thing for Order 66 in the Jedi Temple? Everyone's just open firing, but like we're seeing
Like
it
one-
through the POV
of
of
one
one
clone.
trooper who won't fire or whatever.
But would he have to
Yeah,
have
but then
a
he would get
faulty
shot.
inhibitor chip, though? That's the question,
Probably.
right?
I would assume so.
And considering that the clones are more,
And it ends with him like standing over like a youngling or whatever, and he can't do it. And the backer's like, "Soldier, why are you waiting or whatever?"
no, you know what? I think the captain of that regiment would just go up and just shoot him, and like the clone would look and
You
be
are
like,
a traitor to the Republic.
and then
Pop.
and then he'd be arrested.
Yeah. Well, it depends, because, like, in the old Legends...
Wow, none of you voted. I'm sad.
Yeah. Like, in Legends, the inhibitor chips weren't... they weren't like actually forcing the clones to do anything. The clones were trained from birth to be loyal to the Republic.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and when the order was given, they did it off their own accord, right?
Because they were so like loyal.
Exactly. Yeah.
To the Chancellor.
Yeah, but in canon, apparently loyal fanaticism is not okay anymore, and now they have to be forced to do it by the inhibitor chip.
Right.
Which means the only clones we get that can rebel against it would have to have a faulty inhibitor
Yeah.
chip. We see even Rex is not immune to it, right? He has
He
to get
fires
distant-
on Ahsoka.
Yeah.
I prefer the inhibitor chip.
Do you?
I think
or like the force them to do it sort of way.
I think it makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like while I agree that it's possible to have like an entire regiment or an entire army raised on the prospect that the Republic is, all powerful and
For
all
an
good.
army will be raised.
Yeah. I think the inhibitor chip just gives it that more of like they literally had no choice.
See-
It just gives that like, why wouldn't Palpatine do that? Just to secure the fact that he will get into, like, why would you leave it up to chance that the clones might be like,
Right.
those Jedis aren't that bad.
I actually always thought, because like before we like had the inhibitor chip conversation, because remember, Revenge of the Sith never talk about the inhibitor chip.
Yeah,
It's
because
never once
it's
used.
just assumed that they're loyal to
Right.
to the.
I always thought it was like a Pavlov dog kind of thing.
That's
They
what
were
It,
conditioned from birth.
that's what it
Like,
used to be.
They go to I don't know. They go to I don't know. Let's say as they're growing up in Camino, they're going to do target practice,
Yeah.
and on the wall is the number 66, and it's constant conditioning from the beginning, and they don't even
that would be
realize
a-
it. But
that
then
would
they
be-
hear that and they're like, "Okay, boys, let's go."
But that would be still sort of like a hypnotic state,
Yeah.
as just like the inhibitor chip has done, right?
Right.
The inhibitor chip puts them in a hypnotic state where they're ready to kill the Jedi, just as what you're suggesting would do the same thing,
Yeah.
just without the inhibitor chip.
Well, because
I
like
think
from
the
what,
inhibitor
the
chip
way
just-
the way I've always seen the inhibitor chip is it literally affects their decision. Like they have no choice.
Yeah.
The inhibitor switch flips,
Yeah.
and it's like they genetically cannot stop themselves. They must do it.
That's
which
the
in-
new canon.
Yeah.
Which, in my opinion, I like more.
Fair.
Because, considering it's a futuristic, it's a galaxy far, far away. It's a futuristic society.
Yeah.
They have the technology to do that,
And
they don't want any loose ends. It would only make sense that they would have
And
a
for the record,
biochip.
for the record, I'm fine
implanted.
with the whole like they genetically don't have a choice to do it. That's when I was a kid, which was like, oh shit, like they got conditioned to that shit. Chad is saying they hear execute Order 66, and they're just like the simulations in.
Oh god!
Just like the simulations, boys.
Flashbacks to Battlefront 2 again.
I think it
God,
brings up-
I wish I had
You missed out on Battlefront 2, didn't you?
playing Battlefront 2.
So fun, beyond fun.
I never even played it online. I was just played it.
I always
locally
played.
with
I always
friends.
played instant action.
Yeah, that was the fun stuff, because back then, like online play wasn't as big of a thing,
No,
So it's
for
just, like,
for
just
me,
play
it
at
wasn't
home.
even with friends. I just hop on instant action and go on like. I'd set all the settings to like as many units as I can muster to fight
And then
against-
just go.
And then sometimes I just put like so I can always get the hero, and I just plow through the enemy. It was so fun. Coruscant. was-
Kenobi's just like standing in front of a battle of 100,000. Hello there.
Listen, Coruscant with Mace Windu was my favorite thing to play as. I just freaking plow through droids.
Kind of like the Clone Wars thing from 2003. Where he literally goes fisticuffs with the super
No,
battle.
but
There was also Darth Maul in that one. If you remember in
on the Coruscant map.
so for the
It's Anakin.
no
on the
for
Coruscant
the
map.
for the Republic it was Mace Windu. For the Separatists it was Darth Maul.
In the Jedi Temple.
In the Jedi Temple on Coruscant in the Jedi Temple. Yeah.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure Anakin is the villain.
No, it's Darth Maul. I am
In the
100
Jedi Temple,
I
it's
am
Darth Maul.
Listen, I am 100%.
Rob, are you willing to
Are
die
you
on
sure?
this hill?
I am willing to die on this hill. Look it up. It was Darth Maul,
And Mace Windu.
Darth Maul and Mace Windu, and in the Galactic Civil War, it was Rebels. It was Luke Skywalker, and Imperials. It was Emperor Palpatine. I remember this.
It might be. I might be getting confused with the campaign because I'm pretty sure in the campaign when you play in the Jedi Temple, you play as the the clone troopers. Sorry,
In the campaign, you play as Anakin.
right? He's the hero that you can choose when he becomes available. I
Yes.
think, but it's Darth Maul.
It's
in
Darth
instant
Maul.
action. Are you sure?
Yeah, it was so fun.
Damn, that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
Why would it be Darth Maul?
Hell, it doesn't make sense, but it's super fun to play.
I guess. I mean, he's kind of dead at that point. Or
It only brings
we
up
thought
like
he'd be
the
dead.
recent Battlefront 2. It doesn't bring up the old one.
The better one.
When I Google it.
By a small amount.
By nostalgic factor, I agree.
I will say this, I think Force Sprint is an interesting thing.
What do you mean?
For Battlefront 2, the old one, they have like
Yeah.
a Force Sprint
Super
where
fun.
they're like, each stride is like 40 meters at a time.
But that's
It's great.
something every hero could do. That was just like a thing, you know. They just go super fast.
Yeah, and
Except Grievous, I don't know if
also
you could do
it
that.
wasn't double jump; it was like quadruple jump.
Yeah.
That was
Boing,
Yeah.
boing, boing.
They also had a stamina meter in the in.
Oh my
the-
god! My
so-
favorite mode was the heroes versus villains on the Tatooine map.
Oh, Moss
That's
Eisley.
yeah, the Mos Eisley
Oh my
heroes
gosh.
versus villains. That was so fun. That's what I was. And then there
The
was
assault. Yeah.
there's a game mode called Hunt where you play as
Oh.
the Jawas versus the Tusken Raiders. I think.
I think I always plays.
Someone should mod that where it's Anakin and Tusken Raiders.
that a bunch of Anakins roaming around versus the Tuskens.
No, it would just be one Anakin and like 50 Tusken Raiders.
It'd be like a wave
and it's
defense
timed,
thing.
right? So it's like you have like 2 minutes to kill every Tusken Raider.
I feel like it would go.
That would
until you
literally
can-
be called Hunt. Yeah.
Yeah,
That would make
I don't
sense.
know,
Yeah.
but that was a fun game mode. And there's also a Hunt version on Endor. I'm pretty sure. It
yeah,
was
the
Ewoks versus
Stormtroopers.
Yeah. I mean,
Was it? It
New
was
Stormtroopers.
Okay.
Battlefront 2 also has it where they have Ewok Hunt.
Yeah, that's a little.
Which is
homage.
very fun. Which is very fun.
It's terrifying.
Right, that's a cool game mode.
Trooper, I can't see more than 5 feet in any direction. Me and
My
Rob,
light's running out.
I remember when me and Rob used to like, when we used to stream it or whatever. One of us would be Stormtrooper, one of us would be Ewok, and the other would just be like, "I'm coming for you, me. No, you can't find me, dude. You can't see me. I can't."
Don't they have those
Where's
little,
everyone else?
little bags that they throw and they're like
The
super bright or
Firefly
something?
thing?
Yeah,
Oh, they're
yeah.
so stupid.
It's actually really hard to kill Stormtroopers in that.
yeah.
It's like annoyingly hard. You have to
'Cause
be-
you have the bow and
actually-
arrow.
You actually no, you don't. You have a spear.
You have a
You're
spear?
melee.
Yeah,
I thought they
you're
were range
stabbing
building,
them.
too.
You're melee. You throw.
But no,
throw-
you do usually, but in Ewok Hunt, that game mode, you don't have a range weapon.
Oh,
Because if you
okay.
did, Ewoks would win every
Oh
single
yeah,
game.
Ewoks would be ridiculous.
And people say that the Ewoks are dumb in Return of the Jedi. What is this?
Like they kind of.
But you just said they'd
Kind-
win every time.
In a video game.
Yeah, which
And
is
no,
obviously canon.
No, they don't win every time. No,
I'm
no,
saying
s-
if you gave them a ranged weapon
Oh, they
in
would win
Ewok Hunt game mode, they
Yeah.
would win
Oh,
every
okay.
round.
Yeah, they would.
Because the Stormtrooper would get hit, and they'd look around not being able to see anything.
and then the Ewok would pop like 2 more shots on them, and they'd be dead.
yeah, and you would just headshot them.
Yeah, it would be overpowered.
Yeah.
It'd be
I
super
can't believe
fun
we're
for
using the
Ewoks.
term overpowered to describe Ewoks.
But in
That
the normal
hurts.
mode, you can use a bow and arrow, right? I think.
Yeah, but in the normal mode,
The normal
I
mode,
two-shot you.
Right.
In the normal mode, I can see you.
It's not nighttime.
Yeah.
In the normal mode, I can hunt you. Your furry little legs ain't going nowhere.
But in the Ewok Hunt mode, you become the hunted.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why you have to escape on the shuttle.
Again, it's like Vietnam.
Right.
It is guerrilla warfare.
Warfare. See, when I first heard the term guerrilla warfare, I thought of like silverback gorillas, like spears, and they're just
Not
like
that
trying
kind of
to shank
Have
people.
you seen Dawn of the Planet of the Apes?
No,
Or is it Ryan?
I've actually never seen a Planet of the Apes movie.
I
Really?
hate the naming
Never.
convention for those movies.
Yeah, it is.
It's so
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Of
Rise
the
of the dawn of the beginning of the end of the
planet of the
of the planet of the civilization of
where
the
the
society.
place and the time does the thing and the stuff.
Yeah, like I've seen the first one with Charleston Heston
I've
from
seen
like
that
the
too.
'60s.
That was pretty good.
I like that one where they see the Statue of Liberty, and he's like, "You blew it," and he's on the beach.
Damn you all!
Yeah,
Oh, the first Planet of the Apes I ever saw was the Mark Wahlberg one.
there's a Mark. That was the reboot, right?
That was the reboot.
With Caesar, I think.
I
Was
think
that his
so.
name?
I think so.
Yeah, okay, I've
Actually,
seen
you
that
know
one
what?
too.
As a kid, I actually liked that. I actually enjoyed that. Movie.
I don't really. I didn't think it was bad. I don't have any.
I know. I
Strong
think a
feelings
lot of
towards it.
people didn't like it. I don't know why.
But they made like 3 more.
not with Mark Wahlberg. No.
No, but in that same timeline.
Because it's so
Didn't they?
easy
Or
to
am I
just
thinking of a
print
wrong
money.
movie? I
Are you
know.
thinking the Charlton Heston one, or are you
No, the
thinking
Charlton Heston is the OG.
Are you thinking the Franco one? Remember, Rise of the Planet of the Apes had James Franco in it,
Oh,
and
it
there was
did?
2 after that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
at a
thinking
loss
about
in this
this.
So wait,
conversation,
Mark
guys.
Wahlberg
I
was
apologize,
not.
'cause
Which
I've
one is
never
Mark
seen one of
Wahlberg
these.
in? I haven't seen that one then. Which one is Mark Wahlberg?
I think
Was that
like-
before
I
that?
think that might have been like early 2000s. Make?
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen that one. I
It's
think
okay.
it was that one was just called Planet of the Apes, right?
Yeah.
I think. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I like that one.
I haven't seen it, but I know what you're talking about.
I haven't seen it in forever, and I might not like it rewatching it, but like when I watched it last time, I liked it. Anyways, sorry. What were we
We've
talking
gone. I love how we went from Book of Boba Fett summary to off the rails to summary to off the rails to summary to off the rails to what did you like about the episode to completely off the rails. Just
Did we finish the summary
we have
at least?
we have infinitely fractaled.
Yeah.
Did we at least
Well,
finish the
fractals are
summary?
fractals are
I
infinite.
think we did.
Then I've completed my mission.
Austin, to be fair, fractals are infinite by nature, so that's kind of a.
I
Oh
hate
my God.
everything that you are,
I'm just saying.
and I may not have you back for the
A
finale.
fractal is an infinitely recurring pattern, so
Would you like something, Rob?
I'd like a little bit of water.
Okay, you guys talk. I'll be right
Just a
back with the
tad
water.
bit of water. Just
We're
like
almost done, guys. Anyways, it is 11:39 p.m. EST.
well, who cares about the talk? We can just end it when we get.
Bored?
Yeah.
Some of us have to work in the morning.
Wait, you have to work?
So?
You have a job?
Yes, Rob. Yes, I have a job
I'm
that
really-
I hate.
I am so proud of you. Wait, are you still
Yes.
working at the community?
Yes.
I thought it was closed.
No, it was closed, and
They
then
opened it.
they reopened
Like
it
that
this
guy,
week.
you know, like that guy from that SpongeBob episode who's like, "Rev up those fryers." When he, yeah, that's.
Bill, it is. Chat says it is four. Chat says it is 4:39 a.m. for me.
So they are in your.
You, sir,
Yeah.
are a
I
trooper,
guess so.
and you deserve some sort of
Told you.
recompense for your suffering.
Did I disagree?
I told you.
Did I disagree?
I'm just saying. I told you.
I still
Thank
stand
you.
by. I think I think
appreciate
our
it.
best podcast episode was last week. To be honest, I had a lot of fun last week. That was a lot
Yeah,
of
because
fun.
you talked about philosophy.
Well, yes.
We can bring up philosophy
course.
now. Bring up the philosophy of the inhibitor chips. Does it absolve them of their crimes? If
They're
in-
ethical. F the Jedi.
No, but if the inhibitor chip is all controlling, does it absolve them of their crimes of murdering the Jedi?
I would say so.
That's an interesting discussion. But then
Well,
who's guilty?
I'm pretty sure there's.
I would argue Palpatine.
Of course, he's the one who created the army in the first place.
And the Kaminoans.
So are the clones just tools? Are the clones people?
Yes, that's the point. The clones are tools. The clones are
The clones are slaves.
The clones are a tool
Right.
in order for Palpatine to enact his endgame, his grand master plan.
But are
now,
they also-
granted, we can humanize the clones. However, once that inhibitor chip kicks in, they have no control over their actions. They have no free will.
So
in
you
them.
wouldn't like Nuremberg trial any of them.
No.
They're just free to go.
Yeah.
But we have to take.
That's
the,
not time.
but we
That's
have.
the
But we
time.
have to take the inhibitor chip out first.
Well, yeah, of course. Because if Palpatine says Order 67, everyone else is getting nuked.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, that was easy.
I guess so.
And I'm in total agreement.
I don't think there's a concrete answer. It's how you feel about it, right?
Well,
it's like your opinion.
For me, I personally measure whether actions are good or bad, and the only reason that we are able to measure actions that are good or bad, or
Right.
even talk about actions as a general rule, is because we assign agency to people or free will. When those inhibitor chips kick in, their free will is done.
Mm-hmm.
They are programmed. They are genetically modified to do things. Right? This is like the determinist's wet dream. Right? They are bound by what the inhibitor chip tells them to do.
But they still committed a killing.
Sure, but they had no
But if-
control
but
over
if-
the actions that they were committing.
But if they weren't present, that person wouldn't be dead.
I would argue the closest thing possible that we have in the real world is someone who is suffering from psychosis or a break from reality, and they kill someone.
Right.
Now, what we would say is they killed someone, yes, but in that moment, this is why we have the insanity defense, in that moment, they cannot be held responsible for the actions they committed because of the fact that they were not the ones of their own free will to make the decision to end that person's
Sure,
life.
but correct me if I'm wrong, but the insanity defense doesn't absolve them of all guilt.
Sure,
No, because
I
they're
agree.
sent to a mental.
I agree
Yeah.
with you, but this is why I said it's the closest thing that we have for a real life example. The only reason I'm saying the clone to be fully absolved of their guilt is because in this case they're not insane. They physically cannot go against their biological coding.
There's
they
actually-
have no choice in the matter. Now Rex, granted, does try to fight it off, but even Rex, who I think we could probably agree is the most humanized or loyal clone to the Republic or the Jedi, even he, after a moment of pause, after a moment of fighting as hard as he can, has no choice but is given over to Order 66, and he opened fires on Ahsoka.
There's actually I heard of that there's a drug that actually makes you open to suggestion, such as that. So if somebody gave you that drug and then told you to commit atrocities, would you hold that person accountable?
That's what I'm asking. What is... when it comes to any sort of law or judicial system, it always relies on precedent, right?
Right.
So what is the precedent of that? Is there any precedent?
Well, that's why I said I think the
look at
closest
that.
thing that we have to real life is the break from psychosis. And in terms of drugs that like make us open to suggestion, there's lots of things that makes us open to suggestion. If I say there was actually a study. If I say beach, shell, ocean, things, words like that.
No,
and
I'm
then
not talking like that.
And then
I'm
I ask
talking
you
like Order
to
66
and
drug.
then I ask you to name a laundry detergent. You are far more likely to say Tide.
Right.
Because I'm conditioning you to give a particular
If I may,
response.
how powerful is this?
I'm pretty
this
sure.
suggestion
I'm pretty sure
narcotic?
it's pretty.
I'm gonna
freaking
get some
powerful.
like omnipotently powerful, like completely able to control
I
your
heard
every
that
whim.
I could be wrong, but I heard that it was like you don't remember. It's like you don't remember anything, but like if you're told to do something, you'll do it
Without hesitation, without
think
a doubt. That's
but
that's pretty scary.
But
I
don't
don't know.
don't take my
Okay,
word.
I don't know. Like
Don't
that's,
take my word for it.
right.
I heard this like maybe 4 years ago,
I don't know. I
but
think
I could be wrong.
I think that's a very interesting question, and I think if there's ever been a case like that in history, we'd have to look at it and see what the jury
yeah.
and the judge determined, right? It's like did they think that they are culpable or not, right?
And
I don't know.
And I don't think they should be.
That's fair.
That's a personal.
Absolutely.
Like
but,
what? Okay, it's like so you were like essentially hypnotized
Mhm.
and told to do atrocities,
Right.
And you did them, which is bad. But were you even there,
Mhm.
like mentally? It's like what Austin's saying with the psychosis thing.
Right. I think we attribute a large part of identity to like our mental being, right? You know what I mean? It's like that whole philosophical thing of like if you put your brain in another body, would it still be you, right? And as long as you still have all your memories and stuff intact, some people would say, yeah, it's still me because my consciousness is what makes me, right?
Yes, I'll say to that. I'd say yes at first,
Yes, but then
but over time, considering you're in a different body, you might change.
how so? What do you mean?
Well, I don't know. So
Because you're already in a different body, genetically speaking.
Bodies act differently.
Mhm.
Like so, my body will act differently than yours. Which
But a lot of that is psychological, right? Subconscious or not, right?
maybe.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe.
Again,
I still think you'd undergo some change over time.
There's no
like
concrete answer.
if my
Yeah.
brain was put into your body. Well, that's the whole thing. It's speculatory, right?
Yeah.
If my brain was put into your body tomorrow, I think there would be changes over time about my mental state.
Maybe.
Well, this
Before I
gets into the
become a different person.
conversation of how human beings formulate an identity.
Right.
What does it mean to be you? What does it mean to be me? What does it mean to be you?
Right. So if the inhibitor chip works in a sense that they don't remember, I'm pretty sure they do remember. I don't know about memories.
They do.
So if they
Rex remembered, he was like, I almost
Rex has
killed you.
PTSD over it.
right. So if they do have memories of it, one could say it is part of their identity, their consciousness, right?
As part of their.
So like whether or not they are in control of their actions and the intent is there, it is part of them. It's not just
Well, that's the
someone
thing.
else,
I wouldn't
right?
say that the intent is part of that. I don't think any of the clones intentionally did Order 66.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand. I'm just saying,
in
like,
case of a futuristic, like in this case of a futuristic inhibitor chip that tells you what to do.
yeah,
Just because you have memories of something doesn't mean that, like, doesn't really add any culpability to it.
I understand.
Like, for example, during the Nuremberg trials, right, and there's a reason why we don't use this excuse anymore. especially in the military. During the Nuremberg trials, there was a lot of ex-Nazis, or I guess at that moment Nazis, who were tried for war crimes against humanity, or just crimes against humanity, period. And a lot of them, their defense was, I was just doing what I was told, right? And the argument is, can you hold, if let's say someone is putting the barrel of the gun against your head and saying you will do this action, are you morally or even legally culpable for the actions that you commit? Now in the military, and I can't speak for Canada, but I know in America, you legally are not allowed to use the excuse of I was just doing my job. You can be held for crimes against humanity, and you can be held in jail for war crimes. That is absolutely not an excuse. And I think that's the difference. If someone puts a gun to your head, are they forcing you? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, you still have a choice.
Right.
But if that choice is death.
But the clones, you still have a
But the
choice.
clones don't.
The clones
don't
don't.
have no
It's
choice.
not
There is no
really.
choice.
It's not a gun to the head. More as like strings are being pulled because you're a marionette. You have no free will.
Right, they're forced to
Then
do it.
how did Anakin get away with war crimes so often?
What?
When you say, hold on.
was-
When you say Anakin getting away with war crimes so much, do you mean during the Clone Wars?
Yeah, perfidy is a war crime. Fake surrendering, that's a war crime.
Yeah. Because, and I would
I'm
argue,
sure they don't
now
have
I
a-
don't agree with
Do
this.
they have a Geneva?
I don't think they have a Geneva Convention.
Now, what I would say is the reason he got away with it was because, now this is not
Because
an
he's on
excuse
the winning
that I
side.
yes, I don't particularly agree with this notion or morally agree with it, but it's the argument of we will do what we have to win. The end always justifies the means.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I go, oh boy, oh, but that's a terrible excuse. Oh boy.
Chivalry and war.
What?
I'm just thinking about that there's rules to war. It's interesting.
Yeah.
That there's like in World War One, you wouldn't if you were in a fighter plane, you wouldn't gun down like a guy who's like on the ground. You know, it wasn't chivalrous, so to speak.
Right.
So,
But that
sorry,
depends on the pilot, I guess. Some pilots.
Well,
might.
some pilot. I don't know. It's kind of off topic. It just started.
No, yeah.
Started to make me think.
But a
about
lot of
chivalry
war
and
crimes are like that. There's sort of agreements to minimize.
There are rules to this.
No, but they're agreements to minimize overall suffering, which you could say is absolutely an oxymoron or a misnomer in a sense.
right. Like it's a war.
Yeah, right.
I think the ultimate example of this was, even though what America did to Japan was terrible and awful, the reason the nuclear bomb was agreed upon to be let off on Hiroshima and Nagasaki was that it would bring such a brutal, violent end to the war that there would be no coming back.
I disagree with that.
Hold on. I'm not saying whether I agree or disagree with you.
Right.
I'm saying this is the justification that was used. That it was such a final act that you could not come back from that there was no weapon on the face of the planet that could compete with that, because before we would just be firebombing people, right? Where you would drop bombs, Hitler would catch on fire, and people would literally burn to death.
Right,
It was
but I'm
just
pretty
a
sure
town full of
firebombing
mannequins.
killed more people than the nuclear bombs did.
Yeah, no, but that's the point. It was such a boom, and that's it. You're not getting up. It's like at a boxing match when you get the knockout. It's like, good, match is over. Was it awful? Maybe, but hey, better than him getting back up.
The climax of the show.
On the topic of that, there is a very good YouTube video. It's 2.5 hours long. I forget exactly what it's called, but it's all about whether or not the atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki were necessary. And I think it is a very interesting watch. And in my opinion, it was not. It was.
Weren't they like about to surrender anyways? Like they were losing the.
Yeah.
fight.
So
they were being pushed back to the.
So Japan did not surrender after Hiroshima was dropped. Nagasaki was dropped, I think, 2 days later, and they didn't surrender after that. They surrendered a few days after that. They surrendered the day after Russia declared war on them. And to a lot of historians, that was the big proponent. Is Japan was sort of holding back until Russia declared war on them as well, and at that point they knew that it was sort of.
over.
Because you can't fight a war on two fronts.
Exactly, right? It was sort of uncontestable like
Hitler.
that.
You've got Russia. Well, hold on. Russia was okay. Hitler was technically fighting a war on three fronts.
Hitler was dead at that
UK and
point.
Canada coming from one side. You had Russia coming out on this side, and you had Africa coming from the south. You were screwed.
No, but Hitler was dead at that point. This was
No, I know. But
this was after Berlin
Yeah.
was taken. This was in August. So
I'm just saying, throughout World War II, like, you were screwed. And it's not like Hitler could retreat to the north, because the Russians and the British could just be like, ha jokes.
yeah. So yeah, some
what you
people will
get.
say like that it was like necessary to do so, but in my opinion, I don't think it was. I think it was more so a demonstrable show of force, because even like as soon as World War II ends, you can see relations fall apart, specifically between the United States and
Yep.
the Soviet Union. Where
Good.
it becomes like the Cold War, so to speak.
Yep.
So the nuclear bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki was sort of like a show of force to showcase the power that they have available. And I don't believe it's why Japan surrendered. At least
Here's
it's
what
hard
I'll-
with history because you never know what could have happened if it didn't go.
And
that
you don't
way,
know if shit's being left out.
Yeah,
That's
you
the
don't.
problem, right?
Yeah.
You can only go by whatever documents that we have left, right?
what is it? The victorious always right.
The victor, the
History
victors
is
write
written by the
history.
victor.
That's it.
Yeah.
Now, there's an interesting video I was watching that basically had a bunch of historians, and basically they argue that they hate that line that history is written by the victors, because there are people who, even under times of great distress, are trying to keep historical records
Right.
of what. So, for example, under the Soviet Union, there were many historians that were trying to keep records of the atrocities that went down during the Soviet Union in places like Ukraine and places like ex-old Yugoslavia, and some of those records are actually kept and cited. Even people do papers on this kind of stuff and research into this kind of stuff, and they say they absolutely hate that line. It's like, is it true that the victors have a bias over what is going to be written about the events that took place? Sure, but there are people who desperately try to
No, it's definitely not like a universal kind of statement, but it does have weight to it.
I think
Yeah,
it
yeah.
applies more so the further back we go in time.
Yeah.
I
Sure.
think then it becomes more and more relevant.
Like Alexander the Great would have probably rewritten history a little
yeah,
bit.
Alexander the Great often incorporated a lot of the territories that he would claim, and he sort of brought to them his culture and his religion, right? So stuff like that, history is kind of being rewritten by the victors because their original culture is being overtaken by his.
Chad is saying, you
force,
said
yeah.
how the nuclear bomb ended the war, but more people died in the incendiary bombings of Tokyo than in both the nuclear bombs.
That's what I said,
combined. Yeah, and I think that's, and again, I'm not that great of a speaker, but that's kind of my point. Was it was such a resolute end. Not when I say end, I don't mean end of the war. I mean it is a show of force so great. One of the uses of the nuclear bomb was that they didn't have to firebomb people. The nuclear bomb would be such a cataclysmic, total. Now I'm going to say this. No one lose their shit. I'm not, signaling anything, but it would be such a final solution that, we wouldn't have to deal with anything after that. We wouldn't have to firebomb people anymore. It would just be one, I want to say boom, because I feel like that underplays it. But you know what I'm trying to say?
I don't think they ever would have used it on Tokyo though, because if you look at sort of the post-war restructuring period of Japan, the United States is very much involved in sort of bringing Japan back to a sort of forefront of society, right? Obviously, they have a lot of military bases and stuff they put in Japan, but a lot of investment is also made into the production capability of Japan, right? That's why today it's such a large manufacturer of stuff like electronics, right? So a lot was invested to it. And I think from the United States point of view, Japan is sort of a way to get a foothold into that area of specifically the Pacific Ocean, but the East China Sea and stuff like that, right? Because you look at, I don't want to get into geopolitics. Never mind.
Geopolitics is very messy. It's very messy.
Yeah, I'll just end it there.
Chad is also saying it was America saying that they will drop another one on Tokyo that got them to surrender.
I don't know. I think stuff like that, personally, I disagree. I think I've listened to a lot of historians that say that there are other
factors
that were more important, like Russia declaring war on them. But I don't know, maybe because the War Council in Tokyo convened even after the first the first 2 nuclear bombs were dropped, and from what I know, there was not a unanimous decision to declare to surrender.
Can you just
right?
imagine that you're Tokyo after the first nuke goes off, and you're like, holy shit, if we don't do something right now, they're going to drop a second one.
Right.
What the hell do we do?
From what I remember, the Emperor of Japan still wanted to continue fighting,
Yes.
even after everything, and then the other like War Council guys convinced him afterwards.
Wait, Japan still had emperors in World War II?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright.
They still have an emperor now,
Big time.
but he's more of a.
Is he like the Queen in Britain?
They
He's
they actually thought of him as a god.
Yeah.
Well, I know
that
that
time.
they used to. I just wasn't aware that like in
No,
like, I
even
guess you would say,
even
like quote unquote.
even at that time they thought of
Yeah.
him that way.
Yeah, but their emperor now is much. I think they're the only country that has an emperor in modern times.
Palpatine in the background.
I could be wrong, but I think that. But what's the?
I actually didn't know that they still had an emperor.
Yeah,
That's
it's symbolic. Yeah, I think yeah, they had an emperor.
just like
But it's like the
though.
Queen in the UK. She has no power.
That depends who you ask, right?
Hashtag down
I don't.
the Queen.
Canada is still
That's not
a
good.
Commonwealth country, so
Be gone with the monarchy.
I don't know.
Abolish it all.
That they stripped the queen of all of her power.
Good. Be gone with the monarchies. End them all.
I agree.
Come at me.
But I don't know if you can truly say the Queen has no power because you still have Commonwealth countries like Canada and Australia. We still have
Sure,
a Governor
but
General.
Canada has its independent. It's not.
Then why do we have a Governor General?
Hardly.
Why do you have a Governor General?
It's you can literally ask anyone. Like it's basically completely like what do you call it? It's symbolic. It's not.
But they still have to sign whatever bill.
Sure, but they
is,
sign everything that comes across their thing.
But,
They almost never
sure,
say no.
Sure, but to use the libertarian slippery slope here, what if they said no? That's a lot of power to them.
Sure, I'm not in favor of the Governor General existing.
Yeah, I don't
the
think
UK's
you can.
government is a democracy. No, I understand it's a democracy. I'm just
But it
saying
still has
that
a
there
monarch.
shouldn't be like I don't think that in the modern age that monarchies should still exist.
I agree, and I don't think you can declare a country
Rob in the background.
entirely like.
Things will revert back to that time.
No, they'll become oligarchies where where power is not held by bloodline, it's held by technology.
That is true.
Or
okay,
technocracies, like Jeff Bezos or
That's
or
true,
Elon
but
Musk.
You leave my boy Elon alone.
I agree with that,
I'm
but
kidding, I
it's
couldn't
still
care less.
reminiscent of that.
Reminiscent in the sense that they're both authoritarian,
Yeah,
or maybe the better word is dictatorial.
Hold
no,
on, what would
that's
be
not the
dictatorial?
better
Huh?
word.
What would be the tutorial?
Both a monarchy and a technocracy.
I'm not quite sure necessarily how the governmental structure would work under a technocracy, but I would argue that. Well, I've
technocracy is just ruled by
If
technology.
it's a singular power,
Yeah.
it's probably a dictatorship.
Yeah, I would
too.
argue that like a king or a queen having absolute or power as king or queen, I would argue it's a dictatorship by birth. Yeah, I've said
Yeah.
that. I've said that before in the past, and I will continue to say it.
Only if they're tyrants.
No, I would say that anytime you have a singular leader with absolute power, that makes you a dictator.
Okay.
Well, what's the definition for? Because I know
Are we gonna get into the definition of what a dictator is?
hold on. No, I'm
hold on.
genuinely curious because I know we have the word triumvirate, which means rule of three, right?
Yeah.
So what's the word for monorumvirate or whatever?
Dictator.
You know?
Ruler with total power over a country, typically one who has obtained control by force.
So dictator
Person
doesn't.
who behaves in an autocratic way, a chief magistrate with absolute power.
Can you search the definition of autocrat? I just want to know that. What's the
Yes.
definition of an autocrat?
A ruler who has absolute power. Someone who insists on complete obedience from others, an imperious or domineering person.
Definitions are so messy. Why do they have to add
Because
so much?
because now hold on.
Because now Democrat and autocrat.
I will say
or,
this.
sorry,
I will say
Democrat,
this.
sorry, Democrat.
I mean, if we're gonna talk about dictators, I mean
No, I mean, sorry, dictator and autocrat are basically synonyms now, right? What's the difference?
Essentially.
What's the difference?
Yeah, I would. So here's what I'll say: we're obviously operating with like layman Google definitions. Obviously, if you get into like policy issues or like political science, is obviously more in depth. more factors to consider when you consider a dictator. I tend to think I don't agree with the definition of a dictator is someone who is typically one who sees power by force. If you have someone who's democratically elected and then attains absolute power over the populace, I would call that person a dictator, even if they didn't get control by force.
Hold on.
Or would they be an autocrat?
So hold on. Somebody like somebody who sure gets there through democratic election, and then changes kind of the structuring to allow himself to have that absolute power, would still probably get that power by force. In some manner of speaking, there has to be shady deals going on where that can happen.
Well, who defines what's shady?
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
I wouldn't lump shady and by force into the same category.
Because if you
No,
think
like,
about
I'm
it,
using shady lightly.
Palpatine does
did
not
everything
become
legally.
a dictator by force.
but he kind of does.
By the time of
He-
Attack of the Clones, the dictatorship is essentially already set up. We're just waiting for Order 66
You're
to come
waiting
down.
for the force
Right.
to happen.
Sure, but I would say
No,
at
I
that
agree with
point,
Austin, because the Force is only necessary for the
Mace
Jedi.
Windu, for example, Mace
Right, the
Windu,
only people that are holding you back from
For example-
obtaining that absolute power.
for
Right, but if
example-
the Jedi didn't exist, which is totally possible, then in that society, they
for
wouldn't.
example, when
But the Jedi do exist, so in which case he is still taking it by force.
Hold on. For example, Revenge of the Sith, Mace Windu versus Palpatine. Palpatine goes to the ground. Mace Windu has him at the sword, right?
At the sword.
And Anakin says he must stand trial. And Mace Windu says, no, he has control of the Senate and the courts.
Right, through shady
He has
dealings.
the Senate and the courts and the banks and the military. He has everything. The only thing at that point, even though no force has been exerted yet in terms of Order 66,
You don't think
I
any
would still
force?
consider
You don't think any force was exuded in that corruption? In like to
it's possible, but I don't think.
What about the blockade of Naboo? Because that's what got the old Chancellor thrown out of.
Sure, but
office.
I
That
don't
was an
think it's
exertion of force.
necessary for there to be some sort of outward show of force for someone to necessarily be a dictator. If Trudeau tomorrow, our Prime Minister tomorrow, burned the Constitution on the steps of the Supreme Court, but didn't send in the military to hurt anyone, I would still call him a dictator. Even if he had even if there was no force.
I think he'd just be like impeached at that point. So,
Well, how can he?
what do you mean?
The impeachment process and the way that we get rid of our politicians is through some sort of constitutional action. There is no constitution. Come at me.
So, wait, Rob, can I
There's
ask a
no
question?
power over. There's no you. It's like the Joker line where Batman's beating him into submission. You have nothing to threaten me with.
So, Rob, can I ask a question?
I guess-
So, are you arguing that any dictator must inherently seize power by force?
I
Are you
think
saying
there
it comes with the
has to
package?
be something tyrannical for you to be a dictator.
Well, hold on. You don't have to exert force to be tyrannical. I would argue.
let's look up the definition of
tyrant.
Now hold on, because I bet if you look at the definition of tyrant, it's going to sound very similar to dictator or autocrat.
An oppressive leader.
So okay,
Crap.
well now define oppressive.
Can I go home?
It is 12 o'clock. We should.
I
probably
literally,
wrap it up.
okay, hold on. I literally said we have 20 minutes left. We should probably wrap this up. And Lucas said, and I quote, "We can keep going. Let's get into philosophy."
Yeah, and
I
we
have-
did, and it was glorious.
It was glorious.
Definition of what was it? Tyrant?
Tyrant.
This isn't philosophy anymore. This is.
A cruel and oppressive ruler.
Now, what pray tell would you describe as cruel, Austin? I have absolute power, but I'm very charitable. Yeah, he's a tyrant. He's a dictator.
What would you describe charitable then? By the same token.
Define oppressive.
For example,
Because there's a lot of things that I personally would consider oppressive,
Well, for
that the
example-
majority of Canadians would not consider oppressive.
well, for example, Queen Elizabeth has donated millions of dollars to charity. So I
Yeah.
would, and she's a monarch, and
But what if those charities use those funds for illegitimate reasons.
What if? Okay.
But I wouldn't blame
You
the
know
queen.
what?
I would blame the charity.
Yeah, that's not the queen's fault. Anyways,
Is she still charitable?
If
Yes, of course,
if I
because
donate $5 to like I don't know sick kids, and tomorrow sick kids starts offing their like consumer base,
Yeah,
I
that's
wouldn't
not
be like
your-
you gave $5, you're at fault now.
So,
no,
like,
screw sick kids.
she also drove in ambulances in World War II. You know, so I
But
can't.
that doesn't have anything to do with her as a monarch.
That's
her as a
does
person.
it? But does it not? Because she is the leader, and she's. That's like saying.
But
like,
she wasn't leader
Hold
during
on,
World
hold on,
War
hold
II.
on. That's like saying like a king leading a charge into battle is not like an example as him as
But
a
what's
king.
the battle?
but
Is it defending the country? Because in that case, they would be acting as the monarch.
what?
I think
It's
the
a
terms
battle,
of the
it's a
battle.
battle.
What if the king is the one who instigated the battle? Would that be a charitable action? Like if he's trying to seize more land?
Well, it's natural. Well, let's go with the presumption of defense. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what was I saying? I lost my train of thought. Damn it.
Can charitable? I'm just sorry to interrupt, but can a charitable action outweigh? Like let's say you have this tyrant who donates $5 million to sick kids, and then he kills 1 million people.
First of all, I don't think that would happen.
I'm just saying hypothetically saying what's worth more. Like what outweighs what makes someone charitable versus oppressive?
So he gives $1
Can they
million
do both?
to sick kids, and then he like offs like 1 million of his
people
of his followers.
Yeah.
So he's a tyrant to his followers, and he donated charity to.
So is he charitable?
I
Is he
would say
oppressive?
I no longer care about the charity.
Is he oppressive?
For example, if I
But
may,
I think the charity, like Queen
How
Elizabeth.
many murders
hold on,
does
Queen
it take
Elizabeth
to outweigh the charity?
Queen Elizabeth
I'm genuinely
didn't-
asking.
Queen Elizabeth didn't give charity and then off her subjects.
It was a hypothetical situation.
No,
Hold
I
on.
know, but
Can
like
I-
I'm trying
pose-
to put it into reality.
can I pose a... Okay, I'm going to do a reality one, but it's on a much smaller scale. Is that okay?
Sure.
We're good? Okay. Recently, there was an NFL quarterback by the name of Tom Brady. He recently retired. Now, Tom Brady is widely considered the greatest of all time. The GOAT, right? The GOAT, right? He has, I think it was like, 6, 7 Super Bowl rings, right? We'll be going into the Hall of Fame for sure, okay? My brother, massive fan. People around the world, massive fan. In fact, my brother was literally weeping when he called when he called for his retirement.
Every time
I say, I do not give a shit about his retirement because it turned out that one of the Super Bowl rings that he got was done because of cheating. He cheated to get his Super Bowl. My position is, I don't give a shit how many Super Bowls he won fair and clean. You cheated. You should have been immediately exorcised from the company. You should have been gone. He got, I think it was a 4-game suspension for doing so. That was it. And I genuinely, I don't, and like this went to, like the company was dragged through the mud for years for finding out about this. And
It's the NFL. That's not even their first like scandal.
No, I know, but they got dragged through the mud for this. I mean, Family Guy to this day still makes jokes about
So
it.
does South Park. It's
Right,
hilarious.
exactly, right? And I say, I don't care how many rings you've won, your unethical and immoral behavior, to me, outweighs all of the good you potentially could have and did do with any team that you were a part of. And to me, it personally disgusts me because of the fact I tend to think that I hold myself to a higher moral standard. I tend to think that people are willing to, and I'm not saying that people can't make bad decisions and then not be forgiven for them later on, but like when this had such a detriment to not only the individual who cheated, the team who knew that cheating was going on and helped support the cheating, but then the company got dragged through the mud, everything went to shit, it had to be settled in court. I do not care how many rings you won. You cheated, you should have been ostracized. The same way that and by the way, the ring he won through cheating, he wasn't even expected to give that up. Now, the Houston Astros, a Major League Baseball team, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, the entire team cheated to win the, what's it called? The, what do you call the baseball championship?
Majors?
Not Grand Slam. That's tennis. They won the World Series. Right? They cheated.
Which is a stupid name.
It found out, the MLB found out about it, and they had their titles restricted, and some of them and they're still considering this now, whether or not certain actors on that team should be kicked out of the league. That's just my take. So for me, oh great, you donated to charity, but then you went and massacred millions. I could not care less.
Right.
I do not give a shit. Right? For example, Adolf Hitler fought in World War I. Now, a lot of German people would consider him a patriot for doing so. Your patriotism ends, your good charitableness ends when you start offing millions.
So
Right?
okay.
That greatly outweighs
Well,
it.
in that case, I don't think there's any good world leader, right? And I'm not saying there is in the first place, but like, look at any world leader today who doesn't have any at least some blood.
I
on
agree.
their
There are
hands,
no
you know,
good.
you know?
I agree. There are no there are no good world leaders. There are only some world leaders that are better than others.
Right.
So in other words, you have to make the best out of everyone.
That's situation. That's very true.
But in that case, you can't just be pessimistic and tell me that the charity part doesn't matter. Because that's just nihilism. Right
All
there.
I'm
That's
asking
just
is how
depressing.
much is the charity worth? Right.
Yeah.
What outweighs?
I think the charity matters, but
How
like
many
I said
people
with the
have to
Queen-
die before the charity doesn't matter? That's my question.
Yeah.
But okay, but like
5?
here's the problem.
10?
Here's the problem. We're talking about hypotheticals where I gave you an example of the Queen doing these things, but never once did I mention that she offed her citizens.
No, that was a hypothetical.
I know, but the hypothetical is being addressed.
I'm sure.
right now.
I'm sure she
But
has
that's the
done
problem.
like slightly unseemly stuff, and if not her, definitely her British Empire, or whatever you could say.
Well,
the
I
United
wouldn't say
Kingdom
her
now.
British Empire. She's only responsible for the actions that were committed by the quote unquote British Empire or the UK.
Sure, like
after she came into rule.
Sure, like when that massacre happened in India under British rule.
Yeah.
During kind of that rebellious stage.
Not just massacres. There was famines. There was a denial of their sovereignty as a country as well. Right.
Basic human rights were tossed out.
If we talk about
Okay, well,
a lot of
and
people,
that was a direct. I wouldn't call it a mission. That was a direct order by the king at the time.
Yeah,
that
and-
was you will go to India and you will basically. I wouldn't use the word subjugate, although it's pretty close. You will roll them into the British Empire by any means necessary.
Right, and when we talk about
that's not
things,
good.
When we talk about things like the Malthusian limit of how big societies can get, that was used as an excuse to starve India under the British rule, right? So it's like it's not all
this
peaches.
got real political.
Okay,
real
so hold
quick.
on. So all these things are objectively bad, but you can't just
Are they objectively bad?
starving a nation?
I don't know. Is it objectively bad?
Do you want to be starved?
No, I think it's bad, but is
For
it
the
objective?
record, hold on.
That's
For the
not what
record,
objective
we are
means.
talking.
That's not what
hold on.
objective means.
For the record, because I don't want this to get misconstrued. When Lucas says, "quote," is it bad? He is talking.
I said, is it objectively
Sorry,
bad?
is it objectively bad? We are talking from simply a philosophical state. I bet if you ask Luca right now, do you think Trudeau should starve his citizens?
No.
He'd probably say no. Right? But in a talk about philosophy, when we're talking about what makes an action bad, it is perfectly reasonable to say, is something objectionably bad within a philosophical context?
Yeah.
I just want to, because you both know, people will take a small tidbit and they will run with it.
I say that yes, it is objectively bad, but you have to have objective morals.
I think morality is inherently subjective.
I'm on that train as well.
Yeah. We as a
think that
society
creates a lot of-
coalesce into certain morals that form the foundation of our society, but some
Sure,
people...
you can have debates and arguments, but you can have debates and arguments about mathematics, which is a very objective field. So, like,
I agree, but it's not to the same
but-
extent.
I don't think it is. I think it can be I think that there is an objective moral reality in this world.
Mathematics is objective because it's a system that we created to describe things, right? Mathematics is objective in the same way that Tolkien's books are objective because he created it. Tomorrow, Tolkien, rest his soul, but any author of any book could say, John did this, and that's objective because they created the system, right? Any system that is reliant on, and this is philosophically speaking, any epistemological system that's reliant on sensory whatever doesn't have that same objectiveness because we're all part of that system. We all experience things differently. So, like, you can say we have objective morality as a society, but that's a morality that we've come to like societally together, and you can still see examples of people who don't agree with that morality. Then it's not objective, because objective means without opinion, right? You have people who hate others and who hate society and who think that a lot of bad actions, but what we think are bad actions,
like anarchists.
Yeah, sure.
And those people are wrong.
How can you say that?
Because
how can you say they're objectively wrong?
Like
they're wrong. They're wrong.
Specifically?
Yeah, they're wrong in terms of our society.
Anarchists
because
specifically, you have to have society.
Not to the anarchist point of view.
No, I'm sorry.
Hold on. No. I can be moderated here because I want to.
Can I just finish my one thought?
Finish one thing, and then I want to give Rob the opportunity to respond.
Societally speaking, you could say they're wrong because we have a society. And again, I'm not saying that I agree with this whatsoever. I'm just saying we as a society have certain morals and principles, and if you go against that, you're wrong. But that's not what objectivity is. Aliens in space, if they exist, or I don't know, whatever, amoebas on Mars in the water supply or in the ice or whatever, don't have the same standards of morality that we do. That's why
Probably don't have any morality.
Sure, that's why
Amoebas
it's not objective. Because for something to be objective, it would have to be true everywhere, without a doubt.
Rob, go ahead. I want
so
to let you respond to that.
So hold on.
Hold on. Before you go, Rob, I just want to say, chat says, bro, when are you guys going to finish? And I responded, never. Go ahead, Rob.
In terms of the anarchist thing, they are objectively wrong. You cannot have that. You can't have no order. That's impossible. Even in like a riot, there's still order of some kind. Like that, you can't not have order in human society.
So
it is impossible.
What do you mean by order?
Some sort of governing
structure.
No matter how faint and little it is, there is always even in a group of like 5 people, there's always going to be like the leader. There's always going to be the alpha.
Do you think this
if you have a group of anarchists, there's going to be a leader.
Do you think this is intrinsic to human in groups?
This is intrinsic. It's an order such as so government. Let's just use that word.
Right.
Is an intrinsic human value that will always be found in no matter where you go. Even if you live on your own, you're still operating in a sense of self-governance. You cannot have anarchy. Anarchy is impossible.
Well, I don't understand the whole self-governance thing. That's just self-preservation at that point. If
you're still governing yourself.
Okay,
you're not running around wild like a loon.
Would you say mosquitoes have order? Because mosquitoes do what they do
actually.
Actually,
they do have order. Yes, they would have order. They would have governance, just like ants do.
But
that's why you have queens.
But mosquitoes don't operate on that same hive mind system. Where's their governance?
Well,
like they just suck blood.
Okay, but mosquitoes operate differently, sure, but they still have a governance. They still have the governance is their need to suck blood and feed their young.
So it's their instinct.
It is instinct, but it's still a form of governance.
I think instinct is completely different if we're talking about societal order. I think those two are
I think it's really hard.
I think instinct. Hold on, one more.
Go ahead.
I think instinct and order. I think instinct and governance can be the same. And let's look at ants. Instinct would tell them to build a colony and wage war with other ants. And this, but it's still instinctual. It is hardwired into them. So, but it's still, you could still look at it as a hive mind form of government.
I agree. In the case of the ants, I agree. But what about a tree, right? Does a tree follow? What order does a tree follow? You could say it follows the order of nature, right?
It has to have suns. Let's look at it at a broader perspective. Let's look at the rainforest.
Right.
So there is an order, and it's more of a Darwinian, I guess, kind of order where it's like, the strongest survive, or the first come first serve kind of deal.
But that would be the anarchist society. The strongest survive.
No, but
that would be you could argue that is that is still nature's version of order.
That's still a form of governance.
The order
in a sense.
is... I don't know if I'd use the word governance, but I would say it's some sort of natural order where it's basically the strong will survive, the weak will die, and that's
a dogma.
You could say like that's the way, or like it's
a dogma.
It's the circle of life, right?
If I may,
all things live, all things die.
If I may, I'm not an anarchist, so I don't know. But do they advocate against any sort of order, including natural order, or do they just advocate against government?
But anarchy is the absence of...
Sure,
the absence of order, the absence of government.
But I would say that...
the absence of government. Government is way different than
government
natural order.
Is order.
No, natural order is completely different than government.
Hold on. If I may
Governments are... Go ahead.
Look, hold on.
Sorry, go ahead.
I promise I will let you talk. Here's what I'll say, okay? I would say that government... I wouldn't say government naturally is order. I would say that government is a form of order so that we may regulate particularly bad behaviors in order to have some sort of functioning society, right? That's what I would say. In terms of the natural order thing, in terms of the what anarchists actually believe, that's really difficult because if you talk to different anarchist groups, because I've watched documentaries on like different anarchist groups, some will say, right, abolishment of all government. Right, there should be no government in place. People should essentially be free to do as they wish. Some people have argued that anarchy is libertarianism on cocaine. Hold on, Rob. But then other anarchists don't argue against no government. They simply argue against hierarchy. That hierarchy is a problem because to have some people over another is a form of oppression. That some anarchists, other anarchists are just batshit insane. I don't know what cocaine they've smoked.
I don't think any of them are arguing against natural order or natural selection or survival of the fittest, though. But I don't think any of them are arguing that the sun won't rise tomorrow.
But at this point, government at this point I'm talking is instinctual to humans. And if it's instinctual to humans, then we have to look at the instincts of other species. And the instincts of other species, for example, the ant, is to create a hive mind, is to colonize, is to wage war with other ants.
But
and other insects.
Personally, I disagree with to say that a person who lives alone in a form of self-governance is a form of government. I disagree with that. I think a person who lives alone can entirely be divorced from any sort of societal order.
I would argue that while I would agree that someone living according to their own will isn't a form of governance, I would
government.
Sure, I will agree with you on that case. However, to Rob's point, what I would say is this, okay? You have the example we always bring up is the Unabomber going off into the middle of nowhere, right? And essentially literally living off of the land, right? Having a little shack that he lives in or whatever. I would argue that his governance or form of government is the idealistic principles that he adheres to. He has, to some extent, and I would argue broadly anyone who has any sort of moral or ethical position on anything is bound or governed, their actions or their thoughts are governed by whatever moral or ethical system that they decide to place upon themselves.
Then we're conflating moral compass with government, which is at least colloquially not the way we use government today.
Sure, I agree, and I think we're conflating a government like a cabinet or a prime minister,
legislative,
with any sort of body of whatever that sets some sort of rules or order for whatever populace.
That's why I didn't say when you're living on your own you create your own government. I said you self-govern, as in you have self-discipline, for example, is a form of self-government.
Sure, but you said anarchists were objectively wrong.
They are. You can't.
I don't understand how.
Because they believe, well, to my understanding, they believe in no government. Mm-hmm. But you can't have that, or no governance. Well, government is the idea of, what is government? It's to create law and order. Government is the creation of law and order to sustain a society.
I would somewhat disagree with that. I don't think, now again, I'm laughing a little bit, because I'm thinking what it was about to come out of my mouth, and I'm laughing a little bit. Like, as someone who you're fine. As someone who's comes from more of the libertarian kind of thought, my argument is government is not the manufacturer of law and order. The government is simply there to exist, to sort out the different conflicts between people when it comes to the intrusion of their civil liberties or their constitutionally protected rights. I don't believe the government is there because without the government we wouldn't be able to impose any sort of law and order. I think the government is there so that people essentially are able to live as freely as humanly possible, and when there are squabbles or incompatibilities or disputes between people's naturally, I guess some people would say, God-given rights, that the government is simply there to go, okay, what's the issue? We're siding with this. This is literally why we have.
It's the arbitrator.
Yeah.
Well,
the government, in my opinion, the government is simply there to be the middleman. They're not there to. Now, obviously, governments have to set laws. You can't just have people looting and burning and rioting in the streets.
Which is what the Americas did, essentially, with the Constitution. They created law and order, and now they're let's say now, quote unquote,
cool.
They're the middleman, as you're saying, but they're using the laws that were set in place by the founding fathers, which was a governing body.
Sure.
So they are.
I wouldn't.
So they are the producers of law and order.
I wouldn't argue that government is the producers of law and order, because I don't think that government just one day woke up one morning and were like, oh, like this is what it means to have law and order. This has been a.
Well, I think you're oversimplifying
a conversation. Well, I don't think I'm oversimplifying. I think I'm being way too general with it. I think this has been a process over, I'd say, thousands of years in terms of what it is to have, like,
of course,
whatever.
But you're still. But when you create a country, you still have to create the law and order. It can come from somewhere. For example, a lot of the U.S.'s laws would probably be very Judeo-Christian. Sorry, just
I don't. Sorry, yeah, go ahead, Rob.
Sorry,
I'll let you
Christian, and a lot of it would spring from that, since they were obviously Christian back then. It's a Christian society
with
not so much
maybe.
not so much anymore,
yeah.
But it was when it was founded. So obviously a lot of it would be attributed to that, but they still created the laws, put in place the amendments, which were made by a governing body.
I feel like we're arguing semantics, right? So my argument would be governments simply observe that there are natural rights and therefore basically take note of these natural rights that exist even without a governing body and basically codify those natural rights into law. Your argument seems to be, and I'm going to try not to strawman, government basically came up with these rights without having to observe them. That they simply I don't want to say brought them out of thin air, because I think that's a straw man, but that they were the originator of these things. I disagree. I don't think government originated anything. I think that they simply observed things that already were in existence and basically just codified them into some sort of official document. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I said it came from somewhere, sure, but they had to officially put it in place. For example,
but I think
the
amendments. But I don't think that officially putting something into a binding legal document is the same as creating something. Now, we can argue that's debating semantics.
Maybe I misspoke, but the premise still exists, where it's like you create quote unquote something. And yes, then you observe it and you become the middleman to a degree, and you rectify, like you have, disputes and stuff that you have to rectify and all.
Yeah.
So I agree with that.
Yeah.
I forgot where I was going in the
first right.
Government.
We've covered a lot on the philosophy side of that. It is currently 12:31. I don't know if you guys want to wrap it up here.
We should.
And we can go from there. But yeah, so we're going to head out, guys. It's been a long night. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. I know that we only talked about the Boba Fett episode for like an hour, and like the other hour and a half has basically been philosophy talk. Regardless, I hope you enjoyed it. I need to get my PS4 controller. Hold on. There we go. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'm going to be up for probably another hour and a half putting this on YouTube. We'll see. I don't know if I'll make it, but Well, it'll be fine. But yeah, like I said, every episode is up on YouTube. We did change the YouTube name of the channel, so the channel is now the 501st Podcast. So go ahead and check that out. We have all of our past Book of Boba Fett episodes up there, and yeah, that's gonna be it for me. There won't be a stream tomorrow, or I guess today, because it's technically Thursday now. Exactly. But there will be a stream on Friday, because I'm working in the morning on Friday, so I'll be able to stream in the afternoon. But yeah, on that note, guys, I'm gonna hop off. I'm gonna head out of here. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening or morning or afternoon, whatever the hell it is over on your side. But yeah, I'm gonna head out. Rob, Luca, any final thoughts?
Bye, everyone.
Bye, freaks of nature.